Hello everyone. Sound check, sound check. Can you hear me? Stelrex with the Prime, 30 month. Thank you very much. Ew. How are you doing? I'm doing good, Strable Schneck. Thank you. How are you guys? Chickaboom, eh? Sound good. Alright, thank you very much. Grandas, come on, man. Have you considered that theory is more important than new mob? So, as you know, we did a main overall voting session last time, where theory was one of the main features, and it didn't make the top 10. The top 10 is the one that we presented last stream, and that we are trying to deliver in the first upcoming batches. Great job on the patch. Thank you very much, Bobby. We got a lot of positive feedback on this latest patch. Obviously, it included a lot of good improvement, fixes, polish, performance, freeze issues, and of course a juicy dungeon that we made sure that the gameplay balance, PvP, all those kind of aspects are as solid as possible. And AI navigation down there should be very close to perfect. And so far we haven't got a single complaint. Mostly just positive feedback on it. So that's real awesome for the team to hear. Very happy to see that that was a huge success. Yeah, I think the Steam review is quite behind. You know, they're still talking about freezes, which should be a big difference in this patch. Usually it takes a while before it follows up on the latest patch. Some people are still talking about old content, right? So we actually have a little follow-up vote that we're gonna start today that helps us gather a little bit more feedback on the patch and also the freeze situation performance, so we get an even larger picture. I mean, usually we get a lot of feedback in DMs when something is better or worse, but I think it would be good and interesting to get a more wider collection of feedback from those that wanna commit. Obviously the general voting possibilities with more features and content will be opening up later on again with new stuff added on that list. We started with a few areas that we know, in a near time frame, but obviously you can decide to pick some of the new ones as well later on when it's time to vote again. Yeah, so we did pause quite a few marketing events due to the big freeze situation we had. But since it seems that's what we want to confirm a little bit with today's voting system, that it's indeed a big impact for majority of the players. So we feel more confident and start pushing again, especially new players, so they don't experience that as severe as pre-patch. Bill Bonte with the 25 month. That is awesome. Thank you very much. New dungeon is cool. Spiritism inside that dungeon is pretty rough though. Looking forward to next patch. Yeah, we do have quite a few Spiritism updates in this next patch, including some additional fixes. We're gonna go through that soon as well. One Kingly Jester with the Prime. Thank you very much. So yeah, we have, if you remember last little vote, you helped us to pinpoint what kind of weapons, armors, animals we wanted to go for, right, first. And you guys have voted, and I'm gonna present the result on that. The Common Man, thank you very much with the 11 month. Spiritist lives matter. Yeah, we talked quite a bit about Spiritism, right? Sebastian has been doing some work there as well. He jumped in there to support a little bit. So yeah, you will see quite a few improvements for Spiritism in this next patch. And We actually plan to deliver this patch quite soon, so it's not a big content patch, it's more in between, I would say. Just polish, fix, quality of life, important things. We mentioned a little bit of this on our webpage, what's some of our main focus, balance issues, for instance, the TC supply lines, tower shields, those are the big balance issues, right, that we have been addressing and working on. So we work on that still, and we want to deploy that as soon as it's pretty much done and finished and verified on tests. We may be able to open up a quick PTR session for everyone because we have some quite heavy changes on tower shields. It would be lovely to get some input on that to make sure we're on the right path balance-wise. Aragon with the gift, thank you very much. All right, let me show you guys the results, what you're gonna get in the next content patch that you voted on. So here we go. Let me hide that. So new opponents, you voted on mount rather than new opponents. New mount type, you wanted the Lycator the most. Bull horses, quite behind. And when it comes to new armor types, you wanted to have medium armor first of all. Raggy so let me clarify. The main areas that we already voted on that are presented, which includes the secondary character slot, is already done, right? It's already on the voted for. We're gonna put this on roadmap so it's more clear to see. So this is just in those that were options within them. Does it make sense? So people voted for new mounts, new armor types, new weapon types, new opponents, and new rideable creatures, but we didn't include what types of within those, right? So these one are already on the top 10, but we wanted to know which one out of these categories. And this is the result of that vote. So medium armor type when it comes to the next armor, and when it comes to new weapon, the majority wanted the fist weapons above anything else currently. So we're gonna finalize the fist weapons, add them to the game. And when it comes to new rideable creatures, just making more creatures rideables. Bear was on number 1, and then you can see Campadon, Tagmadon, Spider, Soldier, and then Spider. So Bear is the next creature we want to make mountable. Ronin, this is a game that just begun. We haven't really, spread the wings yet. So obviously we're here to grow and expand for at least 10 years. Absolutely, obviously beyond Mortal 1, because everything is in a much better core state. So yeah, welcome in whenever you want to try something. So the second character, the Diva system, is already voted on top 10. So it's already won the top 10. I think it was number 2, right? If anyone remember when I presented that. So we're gonna update the roadmap and put it on the website so you see those main areas that we are working on in the upcoming main content patches. So yeah, these are just like I said, within those categories that we wanted to pinpoint as well. Anita, so we talked many times about how it works to build a game like this. We are a team with multiple developers. Everyone can't just sit and work on polishing, fixing. We are multiple developers. So obviously, if we want to keep the entire development team, they need to be working on something they can work on while others work on polishing and fixing or whatever that may be, right? So we talked about that many times. We understand it's not easy to understand why we need to have all developers working on what they can work on, but it's simply how it works, right? And as you can see, main bugs and issues are always number one priority, which you can see on all patch notes, all the content we added so far since day one pretty much. So that's not going to end, that's not going to change. But like I said, that doesn't mean our other developers, artists for instance, can't continue their work and we can add that to the game because it's already on working content. It doesn't mean we're adding new features. For instance, we add a new creature for instance, or a new dungeon for instance. And as we saw in the votes, the majority wanted new dungeons, and that's exactly what we saw in this latest patch. We got the first dungeon so far, and it was a huge success, and we see a lot of nice action going on there. So that was awesome to see. So yeah, I guess we have to repeat that every now and then when people see that their specific favorite bug or nasty bug, I would say, haven't been fixed. If that's the case, obviously that doesn't mean we have stopped working on such issues. We go through all bugs, reproduce them, and they go to a developer to have them solved in upcoming patches. But like I mentioned, that doesn't mean that our artists can't go in codes, for instance, and fix bugs, right? I hope that makes sense. That artists still need to produce content for the company, which is content that we can use as a player and be happy about new content, right? Because it's safe content also. It's no new systems. I think most people are, learning those steps by now. But it's a good thing, I guess, to get the questions every now and then so we can repeat that knowledge so we all get aboard. But yeah, we're gonna slowly ramp up more marketing now as we see. Like I said, we're gonna start a new poll today just to get some feedback on the patch. Hopefully that results also back up the general feedback we got from players, from email, in-game, and Discord and forums. But it's always good to get a little bit more feedback from more players. These weapons will imply dual wielding, so it won't be the dual wield system that we plan to add later on. It's simply using two different fist weapons on your knuckles that will obviously use that type of weapon damage and extended range from your fists. I'm gonna show the final results of those weapons in our upcoming stream. We have our first draft on them already. Yeah, the character slots system is a diva. Hibiji, like we said, it was on the top 10, so it's one of the most, I think it was number 2 on the list. Number 1 was the combat polish updates, which we already started on. And number 2, I think, was the diva system. So yeah, your votes is what we are focusing on. Do I have... Let me see if I have... If people forgot about the votes result from the last session. Where the hell did I have it? I'm not sure. I also want to remind again, like all those top 10 that was the most voted, there are quite a variation on time investment required for them, right? We didn't specify if this is a smaller or a larger. People can only speculate, obviously, but that is also what we work on right now to create a schedule, who is needed, and in what patch it may fit. But obviously, we try to consider the highest voted to come as early as possible. Like I said, it could be that one of those are quite large, so it may come in the next patch again, and then we may get something else that are smaller, and also depending on who in the team needs to work on it. No, the second character slot will not be in this month. I can say that already. can show again. So this was the top 10, if you remember. It should be on the website as well. And this is the order of the popularity. So Comet Polish is already something we work on. New Dungeon we are already working on as well. You only got, you know, the Undercraft so far. You will get more of that. The dungeon model system is being expanded. So you will see equal quality, obviously, at least is the goal. But just more variation and options and themes and different challenges and stuff to discover. And then you see third place was the second character, the Diva system. And the other ones was the one we wanted to define. What type of new creature, what type of new armor, what type of new rideable, and what type of new weapons. And that is the one that I showed you here. So now we define those, right? New dungeons are always appreciated. Yeah, obviously, when we add one new big nice dungeon, obviously there are big interests, a lot of conflicts, a lot of action, you know, both good and bad for most players. Obviously, if you're a solo small group, it could be challenging to go there and survive, to fully explore it, because everyone is very hungry for, you know, exploring and hunting in the new dungeon. So that is why we are following up on another dungeon already, with a different theme, obviously some other stuff, right, to discover. And that dungeon is planned to be ready also for the next content patch already. So yeah, it's progressing quite well. Only one dev in the company, so it's only me, I think. Oh well. So yeah, it's going to be exciting to see the new version of Lycator. I will be able to do a new sneak peek of that when it's in a more refined state. Again, we want to update it from the first game. It went a little sideways in the first game, so we're going to perfect it this time around as well. So that's going to be cool. We're also doing a very, very nice quality of life update on our all rideable mount system in the game that we are working on to already add in this next patch in between the content one, which is quite close. And that is how we rearrange the stamina and gear system a little bit on all rideables. So you will have a better high-paced transportation, traveling ability on mounts, and then have a specific boost to do the tactical grounds, you know, hit and runs, you know, try to escape or try to hit someone. I think everyone will appreciate that little update. It will just make it more pleasant to travel the world, be more efficient. So that's a small thing, but a huge quality of life, I think. Hello, Mortal 2, but we need a second character slot, please. That is exactly what we're working on, Meta MO2. We are working on the Diva because it was number 3 on the top voted of all, as I just showed you. So now we just need the time, right? There's a few things we need to cover tech-wise, so it's not just add number 2 and we have a second character. It's you know, quite a few steps we need to go through carefully to make sure it fully works and is supported. And yes, we're fully aware of the global defense supply lines keep situation. We are fully aware of it, and we are already working on having that properly balanced. And we will have a patch as soon as that system is updated and fully working. So we know it's a quite high priority for the game. So yes, we are working on it. Gilbert Wombat, thank you for the subscription. Hello there. I just wanted to say that this game is going the right direction. Keep the heads up and the good work. Thanks. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And the entire team is always very happy to hear the support from the player base. And yeah, awesome feedback on the latest patch. The team feels really excited, obviously, when all the hard work pays off in a good patch. that just adds more energy to the team. Look, I think you're a little bit misinformed there. You know, when we add new AI in the dungeons, for instance, we haven't got a single report on bad AI in a new dungeon, and that is because we used a new system for dungeons and improved AI and mesh pathing. So that's been a huge success. So obviously everyone benefit from a new dungeon because it's just pure joy and experience and rewards for everyone, including you, Luco, if you're not loco, that is. But yeah, it's the majority of the votes that we try to look at in general to see that we're covering something that the majority is happy about. Obviously, that's what we're doing. And then, of course, we always had the red line in the background that we want to slowly but steady deliver for everyone as well on the side. M2 website's map is outdated. The map? You mean the roadmap? Oh my god. Assidious. Thank you for the donation. Is there any plans to rework pet system to make more rewarding to bring a pet out in the world rather than people glitching them in to keep stacking through balls? Yeah, we will do more session when it comes to pets. We also have farming coming later that obviously will make it more convenient to train them, breed animals, refine them, and you know, stock up on more animals. And yeah, we want to continue balancing the special ability attacks so those are more manual rewarding, high gameplay, and the passive attacks are way less so. That is the end goal, to have, you know, as a good balanced state as possible. No, the next patch have fixes, Spiritism updates, balance fixes, and Tower Shield balance is something we work on right now. The mount new stamina system that will make traveling much more effective and enjoyable, and a lot of polish and bug fixes, pretty much. Danny Tinian, thank you for the bits. Where are those necro tables? Where are the necro tables? Yeah. Good question. Good question. We need to fit them somewhere. As I said before, it's not a very simple thing. It takes quite some time to get that system to work in housing, but obviously it needs to go somewhere, right? Yeah, we are working on the second payment method. We know that there are a few of you that have problems with our current Xsolla system, and some don't like them for any reason, and that's fine. We are adding a second payment solution that we also had before. So I can't say what date exactly, but obviously we're going to announce it when it's ready. So we work on it as fast as we can. So yeah, so thank you for defining those ones. Now we can put them in our upcoming content patches. No, Spider was on 4th place, as you saw here on the votes. But yeah, pretty cool mount, I would say. Whoa! Change it to mount stamina. Indeed, Professor. Then did none. Quite some time I was told they were done, and I level up Necro 4000 hours. I think my build could properly use ritual pets and they are booty. I'm not sure who said that they were done. We still need code system updates to make it work in houses for the permanent ones. If I'm not missing something, but I still believe that is the case. I have to take a look for next one. Star, I do play Mortal Line every now and then. The entire team have a game session as well every Friday when we play around, you know, usually on the new content especially. You know, that could be one of the problem. Being such a old veteran, you may ignore some bugs or don't even experience them in a bad way because you simply ignore them, right? That is why we try to look at new players and question them afterwards. How was the quality experience? How was the new player experience? What kind of quality and bugs did you encounter? And that is one of the things, right? The majority don't encounter anything game breaking that makes them stop playing the game. The auto factors when they go from Haven to Milan and so on. So obviously a veteran playing the game can obviously list random bugs in the world, right, in various areas. But the challenge is to rate them, prioritize them, reproduce them, and so on. So it's not that we don't have bugs reported from the game. We do, quite a list. But the question is, in what priority of order is it important for you as a player? As someone else may quite often hear, I didn't even know we had that bug, but nice, bug fix in the patch note. And there's tons of those, right? And then every now and then we may hit your favorite nasty bug, you know. So that is always a challenge. Whatever the different players are doing in experience, what bug is the, you know, high priority for that player. So you know, we always appreciate if a majority can agree or point out this bug, we are all tired about it, please prioritize that one. We're very happy to get that feedback, and then we will obviously bump that very high on our to fix polish list. The question is though, if people have that bug in mind that are shared by a lot of players. That's the big question, right? Hey Jake, J45K. Xola is not shady actually. we looked into them. We work with Epic. I mean, we have done our research in Google as well, and we can see where some of the shadiness, rumors, or discussion may come from. There are a top tier world approved payment provider. They wouldn't have got those ratings if they were shady. So they have very strict policies and rules and regulations on them to be able to be a payment provider. And that is also why some of the biggest games in the world uses them. They wouldn't have used them if they were shady. But we fully understand that some people will have, you know, opinions about some of those companies, and that's perfectly fine, and we respect that. And that is why we add a completely different payment provider also, to make everyone happy to choose whoever they want to go through, right? So we listen on that, absolutely. So some of the thing we're doing with Tower Shield is updating the system, how equipment hits works, damage, stamina use on those based on damage and blunt damage, and the weights. So the results behind all this is pretty much you have to go down in weight, or you have to go down in material due to the weight changes, and you know, whatever you're looking for in terms of shield damage reduction. But it also, the new system connected to it is connected to equipment hits, so it also affects your stamina in that way. So we have a draft right now that we plan to put on PTR, and we welcome you in to have a try, so we can get some feedback on that. So that is the plan currently. Right. Let me catch up here. I'm a little behind here. Yeah, we are working on the supply lines, so you can't get multiple supply lines to one keep. There should only be the one connected to the keep, right? We are looking to add rubble state on that also, which means you can't instantly rebuild the supply lines. So some important balance defense balances that will make sieging more reliable and correct. Skin routine. I don't have a skin routine sorts. Thank you very much. Gank blueberries when you play with team on Friday. I'm not sure we gank blueberries. So yeah, you will be able to have your input and test on the tower shields in this brief. So far planned PTR if everything goes as planned. We will update you obviously. We don't have an ATA yet on the second character slot. There are still a few question marks that needs to be ironed out. But like I said, we're gonna try to update the roadmap as well when we have pinpointed the schedule a bit more closer and give that kind of estimated roadmap update so you have a better overview when you can expect it. In what order at least. We refrain again from putting the exact dates on these big patches, right? Because if it's a big patch, obviously stability is number one, right? And that needs to determine if more time is needed or not. I'm not defending Sol. I'm just saying they're not a shady company. They're a LA-based company that are approved with heavy regulation. Of course, if they've done stuff in the past that I may not be aware of, that seems unfair, then of course I can't comment on that, right? But Epic Games, many other large games and companies uses them without problems. We are one of many. But like I said, we don't. If people don't like them, they can select another option that we will deploy as soon as we can. Can you give us some information about the new mount stamina system, at least what your design goals are? Well, I can say that. So one of the things that didn't make sense when I was even playing myself, obviously, but when I'm watching streamers on a daily basis, there was always this thing, right? When you're running on your mount, dismount, run by foot, mount, and continue riding. Just doesn't make sense, right? And it's just more annoying than in real life. You wouldn't dismount horse when traveling in wilderness, right? So obviously we want to fix that. So it should always be more effective to be mounted when you're traveling. Just makes sense, right? So we are changing the gears to be the 4 gears will remain, right? One of the main differences is that the gear number 3, the gallop mode, you know, where you're slowly draining stamina, will not drain stamina anymore. So you can actually travel the world in gallop. And it's only the boost, the 4th gear, that you can go up to and drain stamina quickly. So you get this, and that is where we will want to put the tactical component instead. So catch someone or try to flee, that's when you go to your boost mode and it depletes stamina. So you have much more tactical components to actually use the boost mode, because people never used the boost mode. It was even confusing because all mounts have different types of boost, timer, stamina drain, and duration of the boost. So it was just confusing and strange. Secondly, you could see that, oh wow, this mount has much more stamina than this one, but why does it drain out faster? You see, it didn't make sense quite poor design on those numbers. So we are correcting it now. So it makes more sense, easier to read, and just more enjoyable, more quality of life. So you will not be running around this mount and travel in slow motion and be annoyed and just be annoying, right? I mean, why would you dismount your horse in real life even? You wouldn't. So we're just improving it, better quality of life, better traveling, and better tactical component that makes sense. So it's not obviously a day-night difference in terms of, I mean, now you would go from third gear to second gear to slowly gain stamina, right? But now you gain faster in second. So we just move up it one notch, pretty much, right? Because yeah, people were confused about the boost even and didn't utilize it. So it was quite a waste. And now that boost will be, you know, distinct. You can boost if you have stamina, pretty much, right? So that is also something we could test on the PTR, is the plan. Third speed infinite, no ganks will happen. I mean, that is the fourth gear for, right? That is the fourth gear. And this is also interesting because some animals have faster boost than horses. It's just that, again, people didn't make aware of it because how it worked currently. So we just gonna make it work much better. And spur will be effective on top of that as well. So we want to put this on test, see how it works, and hopefully will be an improved mount system for everyone. So we have to test it, right? And then we will see. Make mounted mages able to turn. That is another balance things, obviously. That's a completely different topic. We are working on TC balance thing that I mentioned just a few moments ago. And it will be patched as soon as we can. We are deploying a patch when that part is updated. And yeah, all mounts also had, like I said, very different stats on these that just... Yeah, the balance is strange on it. Supply lines don't stack for 2 keeps, or are they limited to keep circle? So the design is that there are 2 supply lines connected to 1 keep, period. There shouldn't be any more across the world. So that is what we're working on addressing. Why are deflecting by TC? I've said it 5 times, Squires. 5 times so far in the stream. So again, I don't want to bore everyone out by saying it a 6th time, right? 3 speed infinite buffs fat mages insanely. Can we like maker in the map so we know where we are? What do you mean? A manual map dot function, or do you mean like in WoW that we want to show where you are on the map? It's quite the difference, right? We're not ready for free-to-play Haven yet. There's a few things we need to get in place before that is possible. But obviously it's quite high up, valuable feature we want to add, right? Because that will be a powerful way to get new players in to try the game out, right? Please do not show the player on the map. We didn't plan to add the player on the map because that's one of the things that a lot of people find enjoyable, and knowledge is, you know, power to be able to navigate in the world, to be able to be lost in the world and so on. We can see the beauty in that, but obviously we can also see the challenge, right? But it's something that we always had in Mortal 9, and the majority seems to have enjoyed it all over the years. Obviously, if everyone now change their mind and think, no, it's time to change that, then obviously we have to reevaluate if that is really the case. But I don't know if that is the case. Will there be a time limit on free-to-play Haven? I'm not sure if there should be a time limit, but there will absolutely be clade and skill limitations, I think. And a more expanded adventure on there, so they get a little bit better taste of what the game has to offer, but still limit them character-wise a little bit, right? I think that makes sense. Don't show on map, it's for noobs. Well, I get lost and I'm just used to a dot on a map. Yeah, it's understandable because most other MMOs do use that auto location on the map, right? It comes from World of Warcraft and all those, you know, large MMOs that a lot of people are used to. So obviously we always look on what may make sense, what may fit, but we also try to be protective of what makes Mortal 9 really unique and exciting for a lot of players that don't want something that are similar to World of Warcraft. So like I said, if we are out of date and 95% of our player base sign off to a change like that, obviously we would consider if that is something that is needed today. So yeah. But yeah, regional map making and such to add more information and dot out things will be really nice, right? So we can expand with more tools. But yeah, I guess it's also, you know, the newer generation, like you said. Bad Mafia Red Nick, you know, we are young generation are used to getting everything served. GPS, iPhones integrated, GPS in cars as standards, right? Everything is more, yeah, modernized, right? So we always need to consider, does these modernization steps fit in this game or does it not? And if it doesn't, does it bring value and nice gaming experience for the majority of the players? That is obviously important questions, right? Don't pander to the dirty casuals. They aren't your demographic. No, like I said, we try to, like I said, Mortal 9 2 is obviously from even Mortal 9 1, right? It's our baby, right? We're coming from Ultima Line. the golden days of the birth of MMOs, pure, true sandbox games. However, after 20 years, we can see where some things doesn't make sense anymore. It needs to be more modernized and more refined to be enjoyable for more players. That is a natural evolution, right? But yeah, there's a line where some game experience becomes, knowledge and power and opportunities that are unique and exciting for the game that we want to protect as much as possible, as long as the players support that as well, that we are making the game for. Like every other MMO out there, Henrik. Lord Conjurer, thank you for the 11 month. I haven't looked up Palworld if it's what kind of MMO it is, or if it's more, Unreal server-based AI. Like I said, there's usually, when people compare a game to other games, it's usually not at all comparable, depending on, it's like comparing an apple and an orange. I can't say much about Palworld, so I can't really say if it's comparable or not, other than I think they're using Unreal Engine, right? And I don't know if it's their own large-scale network solution. I doubt it. I think it's Unreal Engine network, but I could be wrong. Like I said, I haven't read up when it comes to that. Eta, when Epic Games UI bug will be fixed. Which one? That it's not saved? That was fixed in this patch, so I need to know, Kix. What do you mean? Navigation is fine as it is. Power is not a sandbox MMO. Yeah, I thought so too, right? I didn't know it was a MMO. Like I said, I don't know that much about it, but I thought it wasn't. And that makes huge differences, because AI uses either the MMO network solution, or if it's a non-MMO, you can use Unreal Engine's network protocol, which is completely different. Regional based server setup without large-scale players in one world. So yeah, it's not comparable in the slightest way. But yeah, awesome to see small indie team hit the jackpot on games also every now and then, right? So it's not only the giants that totally dominates the market. With FSR frame gen be getting stability fixes. So that is one of the tricky thing, right? So we implemented a system, and that uses driver system from AMD and Unreal Engine, how the render pipeline works, and that's something we can't really do anything in. It's not our codes. And we noticed that for some users it doesn't work very well, and for some users it works perfectly. There are multiple topics on what you can do to improve that stability, because again, it's not related to our specific game and our codes. It's actually something in a render pipeline, for hardware and drivers. And since hardware and drivers have a unlimited combination in the world, that is just a huge rabbit hole for us to try to help. We can show. We're not alone with that. There are multiple games with these settings that have the same situation depending on your combination. So we try to get that information so the players can find what is needed for your setup. That is one step we try to do at least. We can see what kind of crashes it is when you crash and submit. We can see if it's something in the game code or if it's something in a render pipeline, engine, drivers, hardware. And when it's on that end, there's nothing we can do about it. We can't fix it. We can't make changes for that. So I hope that makes sense what I'm trying to explain. Update the MO2 map. It's outdated. You mean in-game map? Or what? I'm gonna jump down a little bit here again. I'm behind. Power is like Arc. Yeah, I thought so too. So everyone should be trying AMD FSR3, the settings to the right, as the first choice, right? Because it's really good for the performance for everyone. But if you have heavy problems with that, then obviously you have the DLSS as an option or TSR as an option. But we would also suggest, I think we have some, we're trying to build a little data pool where you can see for the specific troubleshooting for those that are affected. There are some combination with hardware that you can do some workaround to make it work better with FSR. So we will try to provide that information. But yeah, it would be impossible for us to you know, specifically pinpoint it, or there's nothing we can do code-wise for it also, like I mentioned. Power is not even close as a real MMORPG. I've just seen it a little bit, right? It's like a little bit of Pokemon. You play on Unreal servers and you get those creatures, right? That's the main scope, right? Apples and oranges are easily be compared. No, it's two different fruits. It's not apples and apples, right? It's two different fruits. But yeah, I mean, maybe the difference is even larger. It's like comparing a fruit to meat. So it's even larger differences when it's not a large-scale network solution. I mean, like I said many times, the majority of the work and challenge and code base for our game is not in the client and Unreal Engine. It's actually the network side of things. And that is what's taken so many years, and that is what allows us to do crazy unique things in large scale, which you can't on Unreal Engine only, for instance. Or it's more like a single player dedicated server type thing. Yeah, I understand. It's like a guest and like a thought, right? It uses Unreal Engine network protocol, so you don't do anything there. You just plug it in and you have players up to 64 players as default regionally based one server, and things just work very accurately, right? Most people say Power is Arc plus Pokemon. Yeah, I would say that, I guess, as well, what I've seen. Start on Unity. Yeah, Unity or Unreal Engine. I mean, today I think Unreal Engine have its edge, obviously, but yeah. Bubbles on the map look dumb. Can we get more of fluid TC30 system? How will that fluid work? Tell me. And intending to make supply lines protection affect only the keep, or what is the keep's secret? Yeah, the supply lines will only protect the keep and its wall. Nothing else when we have done the final update to this system. The journal is not saved on Epic. Okay, so it's a journal missing. Is that the thing? Power is not MMO at all. It's asses flip Unreal game that has less resources than Start and make a lot of money. Yeah, it seems to be a huge success, right? It's even taunting some of those giants that spend billions, which is cool to see, right? I also heard Nintendo wasn't too happy. I'm not sure what's that about though. 4 and 32 players. Yeah. Exactly. The traditional network, Unreal Network multiplayer up to 32 players, like Unreal Tournament, right? And all those games. And that is very nice if you're a small game developer, because you don't have to do anything on the network side. Very, very easy to produce solid content, rely on the engine. But obviously, Mortaline isn't that venue, right? We have to do the challenging way, which is both rewarding but also very challenging at times. Game was made by AI. Every login I have to rearrange the UI from scratch in my Epic. I was fairly sure that was fixed, but if that's not the case, we have to take a look on that again. Thank you, Kix. Yeah, there are more promotion to come, show games. Like I mentioned, we weren't too fun to push hard on things when we noticed a lot of players experienced the big freezes that made the game not as enjoyable. So that's why we've been prioritizing that and working day and night to have that one fixed. This latest patch seems to have been dealt with that greatly. We're gonna start a little poll shortly. If you have a minute to spare, we happily want to get your view on the patch. There's like 4 questions or something, so it just takes a few seconds. So we can get a little bit wider picture of how things are looking on some things. I'm gonna see if we can get the link for it actually. Pals constantly get stuck in structures or just want path to eat. What? Maybe? What do you mean pals constantly get stuck? Do you mean pets? And chance if a tactician rework with the clade fixes. There's a few things we're gonna do with tactician balance wise, and we may be able to have it on a toggle as many wanted, but I can't say exactly when. We plan to finish the entities as soon as that developer have done some important balances, including TC balances that we work on right now. So we try to do it in a prioritized order of things for the game quality. Mid-game more like Gloria Victis. I thought people got tired of the sieging in Gloria Victis after a moment because it became more, you know, like a action match, and you get bored of that. Or more dynamic and real world scenarios, but I'm not sure if I'm correct. Obviously there are many different opinions, right, on what kind of changes, what kind of additions as the siege system may have and may not have. It's a sensitive topic for many also. Played with Malign back then MO1 and now MO2. I'll be honest, Malign was the best game I ever played, but MO2 is currently developing into this. Thank you very much for your work and praise the whole team. The game isn't perfect yet, but it's well on the way. Thank you very much, Meta MO2. Appreciate that, and I agree quite strongly here. You know, Ultima Line, I started that beta days. It was my #1 MMO game in all times. Nothing really got close to it, I think, and I guess that's also because I was born into Ultima Line pretty much, right? the first MMO client-based ever, and I just got so deep into it and loved it so much. And yeah, I played a lot of different MMOs over the years, and nothing really got to compete with it. And then the MMOs just got further and further away in the whole wrong direction, I thought. So that's why we had to make Mortal Online, to go back to that, the roots of a free, true sandbox that, you know, have something different to offer. So yeah, you know, obviously those words means a lot. It's we're trying to obviously compete more with a sandbox like Ultima Online rather than a WoW theme park MMO, right? FSR has memory leak and crashes. Not for everyone. That's what I said a few minutes ago, right? It's not in the game. It's how it works with drivers and hardware. So that needs to be pinpointed. There are also workarounds for those combinations that have crashes. But like I said, I'm one of them that never crashes with FSR, and I get a huge boost. So it's a game changer for me personally. I can't use any other settings because I would be missing out, right? So there's a few games and forums that are discussing these issues that happens with FSR 3 currently. There may be updates to it soon from the developers, but it's not our specific game related currently, which is, you know, puts it out of our hands, sadly. Make sure you disable VSync if you use FSR so it works. Yeah, there are some options that do interfere with FSR, some settings in your graphic card that also may interfere or make it not work. So yeah, there are some information guidelines regarding how to use FSR3 that we suggest everyone to read if you have problems with it, because it is quite a game changer for many players, I would say. You get so many FPS, very low input latency, and you can just enjoy the game, right? No, every now and then the discussion come about Plex token stuff. Like I said, we are not really looking into that currently, and how that may become a thing. Like I said, personally, I think it's on the edge to be paid to win, because that means a new player can buy a Plex, sell it for insane money and items, and you get them instantly without having to work your way there at all. Like you do in EVE Online, right? Bought a Plex, sold it, bought a ship I couldn't afford, and now I'm killing players in a ship I shouldn't be flying. So I'm a little bit mixed on what it actually adds to the game, right? You get some tuning options for FSR 3 and others. What kind of tuning options are you referring to? Mr. Leggett, I've commented on the Siege TC balance, I think 6 times now. We know it's a high priority for everyone, and we are working on it. As soon as we have updated it, we will patch it. We won't delay that patch as soon as it's done. That's all I can say right now. It's not very far away, but I can't say exactly when. It's before the big content patch, at least. That's what I can say. I think we fixed that bug, Bussy94, when you switch weapon to obtain its speed. We have fixed it, and it goes into the next patch that we are deploying very soon. Alright, let me jump down. I'm way more behind than I thought. Shit, sorry guys. Okay, now I'm up to date. Let me see, okay. So we would be happy if you would spend 30 seconds it takes pretty much on giving your feedback on this link. We're gonna put it on the web page and log in as well. Just good for us to get more information on the feedback on the latest patch, how you experience those things. It's like 5 questions or so, so it's very quickly to answer on them. But it's helpful for us. You can sell the Plex, but you will lose whatever you buy if you suck at the game skill and know how to make a difference. Yeah, I mean, I know how to play Eve, right? I played it for many years, right? But I could still become a billionaire in that game by buying a Plex and sell it and buy stuff that I shouldn't had in time. So it is kind of pay to win because I'm paying to win. I wouldn't win that fight that I was doing in those ships and those fittings if I didn't buy the Plex because I like the time to make money. So, and that is actually pay to win, right? And I never been a fan of pay to win. So that's why we said Mortal 9 2 would never be pay to win. And this goes dangerously close to it, right? If you can buy something and sell it in games, so you get all the resources you need, weapons, houses, whatever, you're getting all that should have taken you time to work for, right? So it's a little bit up there, right? I see it's not exactly the same, but you see what I mean, right? So I'm a little bit afraid because we don't want to make Mortal 9 microtransaction pay to win luck content, right? Eplex is definitely too close to pay to win. Yeah, I think so. Like I said, I won those fights due to the Plex I sold. I wouldn't have won those fights because I wouldn't be able to compete with the fittings in the ship that I lacked, that I couldn't buy. So I absolutely won because I paid money in EVE Online. So that is the definition of pay to win, right? Maybe it's not exactly the same in Mortal 9 because, you know, it's not as much on your fittings, your gear, right? Player skills is high in Mortal 9. You can't just be a noob and use Crow Knight and think you're ruling the field, right? That's true, and that's something we're happy because we do want it to be player skills and knowledge matters the most, right? But yeah, you know, it's sensitive areas, right? So we can't just throw something in like that without very carefully go through to see what kind of impact it has in the long run and, you know, both short-term, long run. And you know, we're quite busy with some huge updates, important fixes, improvements that everyone benefit from and want, you know. So we take it in that order at least. Bro, we're not asking you to make a pay to win, but at least find a viable economic system. No, but I explain what it means, what you ask for, right? I'm not saying that you're asking for pay to win. I'm saying that some of the function you just asked for can be translated directly to pay to win. Bro, do you see what I mean? Like Plex, someone suggested add Plex, and I just said what Plex meant to me personally and everyone else when playing EVE Online. And it may have a little bit different in Mortal 9, but it will have a similar effect, right? And in EVE it's 100% pay to win. What is it in Mortal 9? I don't know. You tell me. Bro. It's pay to win with trinkets. So you buy Plex and you buy trinkets and you have more power. Is that what I mean? So it is like in EVE, you mean? Second character slot, please. Your wish have been fulfilled. You don't have to ask for it anymore. It became top 3 in the votes. It's already under making. So just give us some time and we will update the roadmap and then put stuff in the game. Yeah, of course, if you design a game from scratch, with in mind with Plex system, then obviously it's going to make things a little bit different, right? But I mean, we always had the definition of multi-line have always been we want to avoid microtransaction locked content, you know, like paying every time you want to visit a new continent or dungeon, or pay for new gear, or you know, pay for Plex and stuff. We want everyone to enjoy everything equally for one subscription. You will get all expansion and everything for free, always in Immortal 9. We won't release a new expansion like in World of Warcraft and you have to pay $660 for that pack to continue your journey. You will get those updates for free. All you need is an active subscription instead. That is the value in return, and we hope and believe that that gives players more better game experience and better content to rule over rather than being locked out and buy it to have it, right? Yeah, we do plan to update the chat window, absolutely. Refine it, add options, and just make it better. And yes, we also have a task currently for the broker UI where we want to update filter functions that many of you have suggested for a while now. So there will be some updates on that and some of the upcoming patches. Make people pay $10 for second slot, sounds fair. So we are still working on some of the challenges we have with the Diva system, right? As we mentioned before starting the discussion about it. We haven't solved all the question marks yet and how we're going to handle it on an account. So we will update on it as soon as we have figured those out. But we are working on it. So the multiple character system is already under design. The veteran system is being refined as well design-wise. It made the top 10, right? It was on the 10th place. So that's also something we're planning for now to fully implement in one of the near upcoming content patches. Combat is too hard. It is challenging, especially when you're facing someone that have been fighting for 2 years, right? Obviously, it's something we want for the game. We want that player skills are the key. Teamwork is the key for success. Knowledge is the key also. But yeah, it is very challenging. I mean, I'm not in my youngest days anymore when I was a Quake champion. So obviously, I'm getting beaten as well when it comes to pure combat in Mortal 9, because you know the generation that have mastered the combat are really good. But like I said, there's coming more depth, more options, more tactical components that I think will be very exciting for everyone. Even though obviously the best PvPer today will always have that edge because they are really good PvPers, right? But there will be more options, more styles. So if you really struggle with melee PvP, there may be other options down the lane that could be that you could enjoy more possible and play it in a different way. But obviously a powerful, skillful melee fighter will always have its edge on the battlefield, right? Is FSR better than NVIDIA frame generation? What should I choose and why? Yes, the AMD FSR 3 on your right side on the settings, you should always try that first, period, because it's superior DLSS. And I didn't believe it. I wouldn't have guessed it, because NVIDIA have had a lead on the software side of that technology for quite a while. But I have to say, I'm giving this one to AMD by far. The FSR 3 generation is superior. I'm gaining 100 FPS over DLSS, and the latency input is a huge difference. You can notice the latency input with DLSS mostly, depending on your hardware a little bit, right? On a 4090, you notice it a little bit. FSR3, I don't notice at all because I see almost 1 ms being added on top of the normal latency, which is insane. I mean, you're adding about 20 on DLSS. So 100 FPS more, barely any latency input added. It's a no-brainer for everyone, right? So absolutely try use FSR3 first. There are some known issues with FSR in the render pipeline drivers in the background that are not game related, so we can't really patch it or do anything about that. There are multiple articles about this issue that people have tried to troubleshoot with success. So that is something we're gonna try to gather for everyone in on our website that hopefully can help those that have those issues. There are thousands of combinations of hardware and drivers, right? And that is putting some of the instability on these settings. FSR3 doesn't work well with my rig, and I have a 3070 i9. So what CPU do you have? There are an article where 1319 the 13th generation Intel have some issues here, and there's an article how you can actually try to fix it. But in general, if you have a new generation i9 and 3070, FSR gonna rock your boat if you get it to work. So I still highly suggest first option to try AMD FSR to the right, enable that setting and see if that works for you. Because it's really good. And then of course, if it doesn't work well, it isn't stable, you can choose any of the other TSR or DLSS settings, obviously. But you will not gain as much in pure performance with those settings. FSR lowers my FPS. John Glass, are you using the right side settings where you have to restart the game so you don't just pick it to the left? It's two different settings. I've seen many being confused by this. We try to make it as clear as possible. You can't lose FSR with the correct FSR settings to the right because it's a huge difference for everyone. But yeah, it's not very good that FSR3 have some hardware issues currently. Obviously unfortunate. But like I said, many people said, yeah, I'm using FSR, but they use it to the left side. I haven't enabled AMD FSR 3 frame generation to the right. When you enable that, restart, that's the game changer. That's when you rock the boat. You can't lose FPS. It's impossible if you have it enabled. You will gain. If you do have older hardware, you may get a little bit more input latency with those settings. So it depends, again, heavily on the hardware. I gain about 1 ms on top of the old one. When I switch it on off and I have an overlay to see my latency to the game, 1 ms, it's not noticeable, right? So, like I said, I'm using a 4090, so it scales very strongly. Yes, it even works better on NVIDIA GPUs. I'm using 4090 NVIDIA card. And when I switch from DLSS frame generation to FSR3, I'm gaining about 100 FPS in average, which is insane. And like I said, almost no latency inputs increased. But in NVIDIA, I get about around 15 to 27, which is starting to be noticeable, right? But not noticeable in the FSR3. So I moved over to FSR completely. And I'm an NVIDIA user, so yeah, I'm extremely impressed how well it works. But yeah, it's a question of hardware and driver combination, which makes it a little bit annoying, right? It's incredible for me on a 5800X and a 6800. Yeah, absolutely. That's solid hardware, and you will benefit from that. Absolutely. Swapping weapons feels really bad. Yes, and that is on our combat polish, the #1 voted, remember? We are working on those things. A crash with FSR, not with DLSS. Yeah, like I said, that's the downside, right? There are a combination where FSR is not stable, We're gonna try to put all the information on articles about that so you can troubleshoot on your own. But yeah, if it doesn't work, then obviously DLSS is the better option, right? To have the stability. So that's why we have all those options still. Switch from DLSS balance to FSR3 balance with frame generation went from 80 to 120. There you go. There you go. Nice boost, Windorn, right? And it looks really crisp as well. We've done some updates on the texture compression and some other settings that just made texture and things looks more crisp. Bro, how can DLSS give you input lag? So frame generation works with multiple frames, which adds those as a delay. So there are always a input delay when you're using that kind of AI technology for scaling. And it adds more or less depending on how strong your graphic card is. Like I said, I barely noticed it on my 4090, which obviously is the next gen card today. So obviously everyone are not able to use that kind of card. And then you will get more and more input lag mostly the more down in the card you go. But I was extremely surprised that FSR doesn't add that much. I don't know what the hell they're doing with the software, but they are doing things currently a little bit better than NVIDIA, I would say. And I didn't think that would happen. Now at least. Yeah, I mean, also if you get very strange behaviors with these settings, a good thing is to reset your graphic card settings in Windows, check your VSync, stuff like that. You know, some of those settings that some people have changed may interfere with the settings and make things work or make it not work at all, right? So we're gonna try to put information on web page with all this general information so people can troubleshoot what may help them, right? It's one of the challenges when it's a PC. You have thousands of different drivers, hardware combinations. You know, that is a jungle. It's quite easier when it's a console. Then you have one one hardware, one software, period. But yeah. Yes, with FSR right side setting enabled, it's worse for me. Epic client though. Should I restart game enabling it? Yeah, you need to restart the game to enable it. If it says so, you have to restart the game. Because when you switch from DLSS frame generation NVIDIA and FSR3 frame generation, you need to restart the client to make effects. And I would say that 99% you will get more FPS with FSR3. If you don't, something is wrong with your settings. I could say 99% certainty, John Glass. So it's worth looking into that and check the settings. Because when I guided some people to get onto the FSR3, they was blown away with the performance and have not looked back since. Fellow game dev here, FSR3 is changing the game. Indeed, indeed. Sure, but how could DLSS increase latency? Make no sense. It does. You can read up on frame generation, how it works. It does add a little bit latency input, and it scales with the hardware. Some people can accept it, some don't. So it's just your personal experience that matters there, I would say, and the game, right? I'm not sure when the secondary character slot system will be ready, but we are working on the technical challenges that needs to be solved. We will update you as that progress. We will also update the roadmap shortly or as soon as we can, so everyone can see in what kind of order things are expected. FSR 3 has better AI generation pipeline than NVIDIA currently. Yeah, and it was the opposite for a long time, right? The first DLSS version, when I started with AI optimization from NVIDIA, AMD was behind. I haven't even started that. So for a few years, they were pushing harder, ray tracing options improvements with AI generation from NVIDIA. And yeah, they were really taking the lead there, and they won a lot of sales because that also greatly improved FPS and gaming experience for many games. But to my surprisement, AMD seems to be in the lead currently, using the latest, which is pretty cool. It's really cool when they compete with each other's, right? And push the technology further and further, faster and better, because we benefit from it. Theory anyone, FSR 3 commonly doesn't have a memory leak, but like I said before, there are hardware combinations and driver combination that makes it not work as intended. It's from AMD, not from us, so it's not in the game. And like I said, it works perfectly for many others, which means you may have this combination that FSR currently doesn't like very much. So yeah, obviously turning it off if it crashes for you, or try to read up on the guides how to troubleshoot FSR with your hardware and your drivers. We're gonna try to put it on the webpage for you. FPS increased by a lot. 5,800, 3070, but the mini stutters are always present. Yeah, so there are still small level streaming stutters in certain areas of the game. One of the big thing was the big freezes, right? That put your game in freeze for many seconds, which was obviously crazy, right? That's have been our main focus to fix first of all, right? And our latest patch seems to be very successful in terms of that. So feel free to vote and give your feedback on our web page when it comes to your experience, so we can see wider view of how everyone is experiencing that. So it's an improvement for everyone, not just a portion of them. Damn, I gained 90 FPS in Fab with FSR. There you go, Christopher. There you go. Everyone is gaining from a decent amount to a lot. It's very powerful. Very powerful. 2080 Ti, no stutter or crashes. Justin, I see. So this is what's interesting. I mean, obviously there's so many factors in terms of the hardware drivers and what kind of hard drive if you're using SSD or such. So yeah, we really want to dig deep into see who is now suffering from stutters. And if there's even anyone left that have these very long freezes that we had pre-patch. Obviously that's prior one, to make sure no one freezes for 30 seconds. That's crazy, right? There seems to be an official cap with FSR. If I can't go past 120 FPS with it off, I have higher FPS. So there's one thing. If you cap your frames at 60, it uses almost a double when using FSR 3. So if you want to cap your FPS, you can't cap it at 60. If you cap at 60, you're around 105, I think. Obviously, if you go unlimited, that's when it goes crazy. I peaked out 675 FPS with FSR in the new dungeon. And that is insane. That's more than I have in Counter-Strike, for God's heaven. So yeah, the performance can go quite crazy now. So check that and check VSync, check your hertz limitations. Right, let me scroll down and then we need to proceed a little bit here. Just enable FSR on 2070. Damn, really shouldn't have knocked it till I tried it. There is he, Amanda. There is he, Anamda. Everyone gains a nice chunk when enabling FSR. That's what we have seen so far. And I tried it on all our computers. All computers, old and new, gain a nice chunk of FPS with the FSR3. And there's few combination of those that struggle with the driver hardware. That is obviously the unfortunate situation at FSR. That's on FSR's end, not Mortal 9. So it's nothing we can do about. Elspin, if you have a high-end card, you don't notice the latency input when using FSR3. I'm getting 1 ms. 1 ms. It's pretty much the same with or without frame generation FSR3. But if you have an older card, that latency goes up, right? Speaking of consoles, wow, 120 FPS change with FSR3 on NVIDIA 3090. Awesome, thanks. Yeah, you see, it's powerful. I want to make it default on for everyone, and then with the information that if you have problems with it crashing or something, obviously other options may be better for that, right? But yeah, absolutely, it's a huge boost for everyone currently that enables it. And hopefully they will update the FSR software for those that have some issues hardware-wise. I guess it's just a matter of time, right? I mean, it's quite new compared to DLSS frame generation. They're a little bit behind, even though they are superior performance-wise right now. Where's the roadmap results, please? Let me show you one more time. So this is the top 10. The top 10 areas that a few thousand voted on last round that we are working on. We already delivered a little bit combat polish. We already delivered 1 dungeon. So we're already moving on this one. Yeah, of course, adding more latency, being NA already, doesn't help, right? Elspin, we fully understand that. So obviously, when the latency becomes too high, obviously that option will also be an option. But like I said, FSR3 have less latency input than DLSS so far to my measurements. Obviously, you can measure on your own to see what's best for you, right? For those struggling with AMD FSR3 frame generation, try the following frame rate cap, unlimited upscaling FSR balance. Yeah, those settings is obviously one thing to try out, but then there are also some other troubleshooting with the hardware, depending on your CPU and your graphic card settings in Windows. And like I said, there are multiple articles about this, so it's not only specifically for Mortal 9. So we're gonna try to gather that and put on a web page eventually as well, for those that wanna dig a little bit deeper and really use it if you're one of those that do crash from it, right? Ron Dark, I'm sad to hear that you're one of those that have if FSR3 crashes. Big question is how many we're talking about that suffer from this with FSR3, because like I said, it's kind of out of our hand, unfortunately. So hopefully they will update FSR3 soon, and we will update it as well as soon as that's in the loop, right? We have a patch plan around the corner quite soon here. We're gonna have a little PTR session to test a few things, and then we plan to go live with that. Nothing major content wise, so it's just polish and bug fixing and some good stuff. Thousands of variation of PCs. It's impossible for everyone to get the same experience, and it's harder for devs to replicate issues. Yeah, that's one of the issues, right? And FSR3 is one of those that are quite heavily dependent on hardware and drivers. Makes it a little bit more sensitive. And when we look at the crash reports, it's not in the game code, so it's something in the FSR rendering pipeline. FSR works on NVIDIA cards. Yes, that is correct. So try that AMD FSR3 right settings, and you will see Everything from 20 to 100 FPS boost. Even on NVIDIA cards. Like I said, I'm using NVIDIA card and I'm using AMD FSR3. And it's superior to my DLSS frame generation. Quite embarrassing for NVIDIA to have my 4090 to rock on FSR3 rather than frame generation DLSS, right? But that's just how it is currently. Hopefully NVIDIA will shoot back, right? That's what we all benefit from. When they feel the pressure from AMD, they work hard to compete, right? So hopefully they will get DLSS on a similar level. That would be wonderful for us, because then we have better options, right? All right, let's proceed before we are getting too late. We're getting close to the 2-hour mark here. So let me scroll down a little bit here. I already lost... Astron, you need to enable AMD frame generation FSR on the right side. Everyone that says they lose a few FPS, they just pick the left side and they don't change from the NVIDIA to AMD. That's a common thing. You can't lose FPS with FSR3. It's pretty much impossible. All right, enough about the FSR3, right? But it is a game changer for many, so absolutely worth trying out. 3060, 60 to 100 FPS gain. Beautiful. Beautiful. Can't enable the setting even after restarting on 4090. You may have wrong settings on your graphic card in Windows. Some people have changed settings there. If you try reset that, perhaps check VSync. Those are the common things to check for. All right. Did I have fun making the new boss in this dungeon, Henrik? It's pretty sick. We had a lot of joy making this new dungeon. We looked at our best dungeon. We looked on all player feedback. And we said, let's build a freaking solid dungeon model system that we can scale up, make variations, and just make sure Namesh and AI and everything just works really good in there. And yeah, this is the first step of that, the Undercraft dungeon, and we got wonderful feedback on it so far. And you can expect it to be expanded over time now, because we're going to deliver a few more dungeons before we can check this off on our roadmap as new dungeon. You may expect one dungeon, but we thought let's add a few, because we know if we just add one, it's going to be heavily contested by a lot of guilds for a long time, so not everyone will be able to enjoy it. So we'll add a few dungeons before we move on a little bit, so it's easier for everyone to enjoy any of the new dungeons, right? Never knew FSR worked with NVIDIA. I didn't know that either until I looked closer into it. But yeah, it works on any graphic card, including old ones, including their competitive cards, NVIDIA, which is crazy, but really generous and really good, because that's how you compete on the market, right? And it pushes NVIDIA to also work hard, right? So we all benefit from it. DLSS NVIDIA frame generation only works on 40 series card and NVIDIA cards, so they are pushing dedicated for their hardware. Understandable, but I think AMD is taking the edge by supporting any card, right? And now I'm using FSR3 and not looking back until NVIDIA pushes back, right? So good for us. Good for us. I wanna make it known for everyone that you should always try FSR3 as a first thing, and if it's stable for you, then perfect, right? And then of course we're gonna update it as soon as AMD update it for those that may suffer crashes and such, because yeah, it's really good right now, and hopefully NVIDIA will get back on their version and improve it as well. Unused FSR upscaling and I lose. Yeah, don't You need to use the real AMD FSR3 to gain FPS. Right. Let's see. I actually have a little something I want to show you guys. A little progress in the background that is coming in upcoming patches. Do you want to take a little peek? Bam! God damn! What do you think about this, little baby? Do we approve it for artists? Is it an approval? Do we approve it, guys? And from the side. So as you can see, the design of the heavy armor is the same as the other mounts we deployed. We deployed a horse in this latest patch, right? You recognize the style, right? It's the same craftsman, the same style, which is pretty cool. So we're adding this type on all armors, or all creatures that gonna be able to wear armor. And obviously most creatures have their own unique little thing, right? And this one obviously have the tails. That makes it a little bit more beastie. This is for the short prowess. So yeah, it's cool. I like it, and I'm happy. It seems like the majority of you guys also liked it. So yeah, we're getting this in batches, right? We're starting with the bear to be mountable. We're adding the armors, and then we continue on that list. The short prow was not top 5, I think, mountable. So this, to be mountable, need to wait a little bit more, I guess, depending on how many we squeeze into each patch, obviously. Chunky lad looks cool. The game have sandworm and spice. We have Sarka. There's a lot of spice and sand, and rumor has it that there was something very similar to sandworms, very large ones. One even was dried and dead that you could enter into as a dungeon adventure into one of these worms, which was pretty cool in Sarka. So obviously, eventually you will be able to go there again. No 8 on the second character slot yet. It's too early. We are covering some technical difficulties, but we're obviously gonna have it covered. And as soon as we know a little bit more time frame, we're gonna put it on a roadmap where we estimate it to be in what order, right? Culture shock. Does resemble a little bit Triceratops with the horns, right? But I mean, we always said that Nave is prehistorical Earth inspired, right? So that's why you can find similarities and things from past history on Earth, right? 10 on 10 armor. Very happy to hear it. The artist is going to be very happy to hear that it was, you know, positively accepted by the community. It's always pressure, you know. T-Rex when? Good question. How slow will it be? Good question that also. I'm not sure exactly the straight penalty with heavy armor. I mean, you have the speed penalty already on horses, right? So we are probably looking at something similar. It's based on the armor type, and yeah, this is the heavy one. Please tell us if boats and thievery still have any chance to be added in the future. Absolutely, both of them will be in the game. The big question is when, right? And that is why we wanted to have a little bit input. What should we focus on first? And you guys already voted on the top 10 most desired thing for the game, and we're gonna deliver that, and then we're gonna continue. So absolutely. You will be able to ride on this one, yes, but currently you can't. Power range, eh? Ah, geez. Ooh. I just woke up this week and I had severe pain in my left jaw side and I couldn't chew. And it haven't it haven't stopped since. Every night and morning it's so stiff, and it feels almost like my teeth doesn't connect normally, like the jaw is a little bit dislocated, even though it's not. I can, you know, like normal, but what the hell happens? All I did was I slept. Wake up with that shit. I think I'm getting old, guys. Getting old. Dislocate itself. When I was young, I had my jaw dislocated. I had problems with it, but I did rehab exercises and I managed to get it back to normal, and that was amazing because holy shit, it was so terrible when the jaw was dislocated. I couldn't open up at all, so it took like several months before I could open up again and eat normally. But then since all those years I've been perfectly fine, so I can use my jaw normally, but something happened on this side. The pain is severe. In the morning when I'm trying to eat, it takes like 20 minutes before I can chew. Old man's problem indeed. Yeah, it sucks. I did some teeth grinding as well, my dentist said. So yeah, I guess it doesn't help. Stress and shit, you know. Caused a big amount of stress. Usually the root of my issues, stress, yeah. Oh, you're gonna live forever. I hope so. I hope so. We need those miracle pills sooner than later, guys. All right. But yeah, happy you enjoy this armor. Left jaw side will get better when you tell us the spiritism news. I promise. I don't have the exact list, but we're gonna patch it very soon. The next patch is, I guess, sooner than you expect it to be. It's not a big content patch, it's just polish fixing and some spiritism tweaks on love. And then we follow up with very important TC updates, and then we plan to do the content patch. So busy bees. We will have quite some updates regularly now. All right, maybe it's time for a little, you know, a little. What the hell? Let's see. Mulvar, this is the short Prower armor. You already have the Mulvar armor, right? Yeah, you do. I mean, it's a little bit similar, right? It's the same theme. You could ask your wife to check if you clench your jaw when sleeping. I do. I do grind my teeth. My dentist told me that, so I do grind a little bit, and yeah, sometimes I've been like felt what's it called? Not tender. No, not tender. What is the word I'm looking for? Not pain, but not sour. What the hell is the word I'm looking for? When you feel a little sore, exactly. Shit, all these words are dropping me. Yeah, sometimes I woke up when I've been a lot of stress. I feel I'm sore in the jaw, like, okay, I've been pushing a exercise grind during the night, right? And I guess that's also was one of the root for my jaw dislocation when I was younger. So I've been blessed to not have any of that problem for many years until now, when I woke up with extreme pain in one of the sides, and it feels like there's like a very small difference in when I'm closing my teeth. You know how they connect perfectly, and now they don't connect as perfectly, like half centimeters difference or something very small, but I can feel that some disconnects between the teeth. So that makes me wonder what the hell happened with the jaw. Anyway, I shouldn't bore you about my stress problems. I have horrible dental problems. calcium deficient, always sore, ouch, ouch. I try to keep my values at optimal rate at least. I try to do those blood values, you know, when at this age, it's always good to make sure all your values are in a normal rate. And to my surprise, during midsummer, when I actually had a tan, I had low D vitamins, which was, I mean, how was that possible, getting so much sun? So I absolutely need to take more of those. Oh yeah, I forgot about it, but I've started giveaway, guys. So sign up, exclamation mark MO2, and we will roll it in a moment. Admin armor. Yeah, we have an armor we want to add to those as well. I mean, eventually all the creatures will have armor options, right? Where it makes sense. Because you got overexposed to sun, so your skin takes up less. Maybe. I mean, I read that it's enough to be like in 20 minutes in sun if you're, you know, the whole body in sun. When it's decent, strong, you get a huge dose of D vitamins that your body absorbs, as long as you don't shower very quickly after, right? And I try to follow that, so I do get the daily dose. But maybe it was actually in the end of the summer, so maybe I do know that when the pigment gets darker, it do take up less and less. So I do understand that, but I wouldn't say that I was that tan that should have a huge impact. So I'm not sure. But I mean, my mom also have less D vitamins absorption, so maybe it's something in my, you know, the genes that I simply take up less. So I have to compensate with that. D vitamins is really important, guys. Around 90% of the world population have D deficiency. Did you know that, guys? And D vitamins is extremely important for everything in your body. So check it up if you're getting up in age. It's my tips. You need other vitamins to convert to vitamin D. Yeah, I know that as well. I'm taking other supplements like K2, magnesium, and those others that are a cofactor with D vitamins. I read up a lot since I heard that I was deficient in D vitamins, so I become a master in D vitamins. Even you know, your diet and exercise is a cofactor to your D vitamins. But yeah, during winter you absolutely have in the lower rate, so that's when it's even more important. The thing is, everyone absorbs it so differently, so you have to measure it in your blood to know if you're on a proper level. And I was below normal level, so I was deficient. Now I'm taking supplements, so I need to take a new test in a month or so to see if I'm in a normal level. Maybe you're grinding your teeth when you sleep and that's why you have pain. Maybe I've been grinding them again too much and something snapped in my left side. I mean, that sounds plausible, right? Getting old, man. I know the feels. Keep talking shit, you get there too. Yeah. I mean, I'm mid-age when you think about it, right? Mid-age, and already things are sneaking up on you. Sad. Chatting with you, Nerf Tower Shields next patch. Yes, we have some content for the Tower Shields in the next patch. This is a small follow-up patch with some polishing fixes, some balances. So, you know, it's nothing major, but some important things. Whoop. All right, one more minute and then I'm rolling it, guys. If we just tune in, no multiple accounts, please. Play it fair. One sign up, one account. How old are you, Henrik? What would you guess today? What would be your guess? I want to know if I'm getting older than I'm looking, or I'm on that. 52. Jesus, do I look that old? Then I dropped the ball. 78. 35, 42, 37, 42, 29, 41, Now I have some more proper estimates, and some of you guys nailed it. I am indeed 41. Uh, 60. Do you know how people look when they're 60? I don't. Either you are a child guessing that, and I forgot about how you look when you're 60, or something is off. What a boomer! 38, eh? 37. I noticed a switch when I was 37, 38. I look younger, and then just when I turn around 40, there's a big switch. And I read about that as well, that you don't age slowly in every categories and how, things degrade. But there's a few steps when it, take a big leap. And I noticed that when I turn around 40. And that's when I went from no gray hair to bunches of them and noticed the skin and stuff, a leap forward, right? And then apparently it would be on this rate for quite a few years, and then it takes a new leap again. Called golden years, indeed. I mean, when looking back, when I was in my 20s and early 30s, when I was working the first years in Starvolt, holy cow, we were fresh. So, if I knew what I knew, if I knew what I know now, I wouldn't have dared step into some of the direction that I did. So for good and bad, we're here for that. Some of the foolishness for being too young to know some of the challenge and, all of that. And then the years and knowledge goes in. But yeah, it's been one hell of a journey, guys. Could be 40 to be on early days U of it. That is true. Back in 96, the beta days started. So I was young then. I was a teenager. Due to my work at sea, some people thought that I was born with gray hair. Oh. Great fucks, eh? What would you have done differently? Well, when you have all this experience and knowledge and older and have a little bit less energy, if you would start a project like this from scratch, you would just, holy shit, it's impossible. It's so hard, it's so energy, time consuming, costs a lot of money, takes a lot of time that I almost wouldn't have dared. So luckily, I didn't know all of that and did dare, right? Because a lot of seniors told me, no, don't start it like that. It's impossible. You can't start your own company. Join Massive Entertainment. Join DICE instead. I got a lot of naysayers when I tried to, get investments and start everything. And I explained that this is my knowledge and my passion. So why would I join those other companies and do something completely different? So, I mean, I wouldn't have done much different other than obviously utilize all the experience that are incredibly valuable, because so many loopholes we had to fall down into, so many challenges, so many obstacles that we just have to encounter on a monthly basis and just move on from there. Obviously, with the experience afterwards, to avoid so many of those loopholes obviously would be a huge thing, right? So that would be amazing to know. But yeah, I need to spend some time up north. Got us some nymph herb. Wouldn't have started half of the project I finished if I knew how much work it would be? Yeah, that is kind of what I mean, right? Especially when we saw other developers and new companies making simple games, single player games, normal multiplayer games, and it's like, holy shit, it's like 5% of work compared to a sandbox MMORPG. So, every now and then when a new game today release, small team, they worked for 2 years, and it's only this little thing. And either it's a success or not, or something in between, right? I mean, obviously the majority of new games, or not successful. It's a challenging industry, right? There are hundreds of games coming out daily that never see daylight or ever make any sales. So obviously that is always an incredible challenge. And obviously the big companies can secure those risks. They can always get a specific amount of sales by just spending millions into marketing and so on. So yeah, I mean, we're happy to had this chance to make Mortal 9 and actually being somewhat successful, rather compared to many other MMOs that didn't even got to release or even survive for a few months or years. So somehow we managed to continue to do that. We are very passionate about. But yeah, there's always a chance when it comes to this genre, because it's ever evolving, and obviously competition and the giants are fierce. So and Mortal 9 is quite different from most other MMOs out there. So either you like it or you hate it, or sometime in between, right? All right, I'm rolling it, guys. Let's go. Let me remove those. Good luck, everyone. Try to match your passion. Just wish Farmer Joe has some more time off, let's say. Indeed. All right, I'm rolling the dice. Here we go. Done well, definitely the best PvP MMO ever made. Care Bears aren't going to like. That's what I read when I read reviews on Steam. Absolutely. There will be a huge portion that won't like Mortal 9 for absolutely it's a PvP MMO also. Congratulations, Refugee Shuru. Let's take a look here. So yeah, absolutely, we know that Mortal 9 won't be for everyone. That's for sure, right? It's demands a little bit more from your brain as well, and it can be a little bit overwhelming, and it can be also quite the experience depending on who you run into, right? But it's also the beauty of the game. So it's a special game, and I'm very happy MMO2 exists. Yeah, I mean, I can't play any other MMO really. I tried, and a little bit sad that there are not more games to enjoy, for at least for me personally. But maybe it's a little bit the age as well. I'm more demanding and picky on what I want to spend my time on. But there's really no MMO that I can enjoy at all. That's quite sad. I mean, 2024, look at the game industry, and there's not a single MMO that I can enjoy. What the hell happened? And even more so, obviously, Ultima 9 and now Mortal 9 have spoiled me to the degree that when I'm forced into a game today, MMO game, I just can't enjoy it. And I have to go by this linear, forced path, which is the opposite of sandbox MMO, right? So, yeah, it's impossible for me to enjoy. It's quite sad. There should be more MMOs to be enjoyable, right? That is in this category, I would say. So you don't enjoy Mortal 9 2? No, that's what I'm saying. I'm only enjoying Ultima 9 and Mortal 9 2. And it spoiled me, so I can't enjoy any other MMOs because they're so theme parky and, very different games, right? Good MMOs, but I struggle to be able to enjoy them. Challenge you to play MMO2 outside on Starlink. Alright, we will see, Relay, we will see. You broke the standard MMO and created something unique. Yeah, it is very unique and very different. So yeah, now when we're entering the next stage and it looks like we are finally getting control over the big freezes, it's time to do our part when it comes to reaching out, making awareness, and starting the marketing tiers. So we can pinpoint all those sandbox lovers out there, because there are a big group out there. We're not talking about the 40 million WoW MMO players, but there are hundreds of thousands of sandbox enjoyers, right? And we need to tap into those. We need to bring them in here. We need to sell the game to them so they can try it out, right? Refugio Seguro. How the hell did I butcher that name? Are you in here that won the giveaway? Do you Eve do in MO2? What? What you Eve do in MO2? What do you mean, No Man's Game? If I played him online or what? I have played him. It's one of the few MMOs that I kind of enjoyed on and off over the years. So I still have my account in EVE Online. I've been playing it on and off, I guess, around 10 years. But I wasn't as active as I was in Ultima Online for about 11 years. Is he in here? That won the key. Refugius Seguro. Is he here, guys? We'll give him a moment to respond. Willux with the Prime, thank you very much. 11 month. Hope to see the patch this next month. Glad to see we are getting the content flow. Yeah, we have. We are already working on this follow-up patch with some nice polishing fixes. That is very close. Refugio, are you here? Good job with the freezes, much better now. Very happy to hear that. That's been a nightmare for us. It's been obviously number one. To have all those huge multiple second freezes obviously is dreadful for the game. So that's been number one, and done a lot of work everywhere. And yeah, it's paid off finally. Doesn't seem like he's currently here. Refugio Seguro. Have you guys seen him in the chat? Have I missed him? Oh my god, another one, eh? Thank you very much for the Prime. Dizzy Bands. Seems like he is not here, guys. Sadly. Last patch was great. Balance and performance went way up. Game is going in the right direction. Balance being put on higher prior is amazing. It was rotten for years. Thirst on human footage deserve more buff though. Augments are just too much. I mean, the Augmer, one of the big things with Augmer that I've noticed the majority agree and say is the Augmers with the heavy tower shield, because they have the threshold to use heavy armor and heavy tower shield, right? So they become extremely tanky. And that is what we are addressing already in these upcoming patches. So we're getting there, right? Shoke with the Prime, thank you very much. Alright, he's not here. Refugio Guru is not here, if I'm not missed him in the chat. So I will reroll, guys. Yeah, we know the Spiritism performance drop and it's been fixed already. So this patch that we deploy quite soon will fix that. Alright, re-rolling, guys. No response sadly from the poor winner, so new chance. Boom. Good luck. And here we go. Garrett O'Hara. Garrett, are you here? Let's take a look. On an Nvidia card, and I did a FSR swap like you said and jumped from 33 FPS to 111. Get damn, one king's jester. Hot damn. That is crazy. That is crazy. But that's what I said. It is very, very strong. So that's why we suggest everyone to try that, because it is a game changer for FPS. Garrett, are you here, my son? Garrett O'Hara. Holy shit. There are, what, 55 Garretts? Why do I have so many Garretts? Trying to find Garrett O'Hara. Yeah, FSR 3 is amazing. Even my old 6700 gets decent FPS now. Yeah, we'll try to collect a guide on how to hopefully get some stability if people are lacking stability. There's quite a few things that can be tried. Here he is. He's here. There he is. Right. He is here. I'm giving out the CD key. CD key? That's old school. The code. The code, right? One moment. All right. There we go. Congratulations on the copy. Frame generator gives you FPS boost, but it introduces some input lag. Yeah, but not much. If you compare it with NVIDIA's frame generation, it's a huge difference. I could barely notice a little bit input lag on NVIDIA's. I do have a very strong graphic card, so it scales worse when you go down. But switching to FSR, I got like 1 ms. It does scale there also, but not as severe. So the ones that I talked to that have cars below me that use FSR absolutely accept the barely noticeable input lag, and some don't notice it at all. So highly suggested to try out. A lot of people haven't tried it. Some people don't think you can use that setting when you are on an NVIDIA card, and some people just use the left side of FSR and don't think that you need to enable it to the right. And when those people do try it, they say, holy shit, why didn't I know this? So anyone in here that haven't tried it, you will be pleasant surprised if you manage to enable it. So we're gonna try to make a little guide and information on the webpage, try to help that little issue, right? Any new weapon animations? So we have animations requested on Combat Polish, right? There's several points that we're looking at to see what can be done, how we can do it to make sure we improve things, because it's all about Combat Polish, right? And we want to make sure we move in the right direction. So we are working on it to see what is secure content to polish and improve on it. If so turns my game into mashed potatoes when I enable it, if I turn too fast, it looks like water paintings. That sounds strange. Mine is super crisp, but again, I guess it depends on many different options and settings, right? You should be able to find a sharp setting, absolutely. We are looking to continue expand on tasks and include fishing in that, which we are trying to also get a bunch of new fishes along with the new rods to add more fishing content. Is the input lag a visual issue only? Does the server think I'm blocking at the same speed if FSR frame generation is on off? I'm trying to think how the step works. You should probably not notice parry delays. It's more the rendering, if I'm not mistaken. I have to talk to Danny, our rendering expert, to be sure. I'm not 100% actually. Will NVIDIA Reflex ever be supported with FSR 3? I'm not sure about that. NVIDIA is quite exclusive for NVIDIA cards, right? So I'm not sure how that will turn out, but AMD is competing very hard right now, so NVIDIA better step up their game, right? So we will see how they may counter. AMD is taking the throne right now, we say, with their FSR 3 frame generation. Any info about controlling summary chains? Yeah, so whenever we finish with some of the fixes we're doing now, we will finalize the entities, and then we want to go back to Necro, Spiritism, and Echo to do a few updates there as well. One of them is the cast for zombies, controlling zombies. When you summon them, they are already controlled. We think the additional step is a little bit quirky and unnecessary, right? So that is planned for. I was like my FSR 3 not giving me that much FPS, then turned VSync off and jumped up to over 200 FPS. There you go, Navy, there you go. So you see there's a lot of quirks with it. It's new technology and new settings. We try to secure it as much as we can to make sure it's easy for you to just enable it, right? But there are different settings like VSync, control panel for your graphic card settings. If those have been modified in different ways, it could prevent the power of FSR 3 and also DLSS. So those are things to check for if it doesn't seem to do anything, because it will do when you have the right settings, as you noticed, Navy. So yeah. There's a plan to attract new players. So now when we're finally getting rid of those huge freezes that make, give us bad ratings on Steam, we saw a lot of that. A lot of bad negative reviews was from game freezes for several seconds, making the game less enjoyable. Now when we finally slowly getting control of that and overall performance, there are still reviews saying the performance is too bad, freezes are too long. They have not tried a new patch, and they have not tried FSR, for instance, or seen a new optimization we've done. So hopefully that will also change. When we were usually around 70 to 80 in review, which is very good for a game like this that have a little bit more niche audience compared to World of Warcraft, right? So we were very happy with that kind of ratings that we've been pretty much all the years. But we got a little dent now with the freezing situation that we, again, hopefully successfully improved, right? So that means we now dare to push more marketing, invite new players, influencers, so they can enjoy the game and actually, don't have to experience and show those freezes. So we're gonna continue rolling that plan out, and we also are slowly approaching making Haven free to play, which is obviously a very powerful way to get a steady flow of new players that are interested in the game, but they don't want to commit, they don't know what it is. So we can get them going and try it for themselves before they may commit to the game. But with that, we need to obviously build a free-to-play system and rework Haven quite a bit to make sure it's a good experience to just play around there, to learn the game a little bit. So a little bit time-consuming on that one, I would say. So yeah, we have to, take one step at a time. And, word from the players that actually experience the things, that spread their knowledge, is obviously a very powerful thing. We don't have the resources to have an army writing for us or influencing forums or writing reviews that the big ones do. They spend millions on that, right? We can only hope that we deliver solid patches that you guys enjoy. And you know, when you say that, you know, Star delivered a good patch, it's enjoyable, it's fun, it's great. They fixed these major issues that made the game less enjoyable for a lot of people. When that word goes out, that goes a long way. So with your help already there, that is a big thing that we obviously very much are grateful for, because that matters a lot for a lot of players. If we say we fixed that, you know, we had a good patch, players that have had a bad experience may think, you know, we just talk, right? Because we are developers. If they hear it from a lot of players that know what they're talking about, that has a great impact, right? So your support is also awesome, obviously. Just changed from 80 frame cap to 144 frame cap, and I went way up with FPS. Awesome to hear, Yeetin. And I'm like I said, I really want to make sure this knowledge gets, you know, widespread, because there are still people that may be missing out on some of those boosts. Now the small ones, please. Yeah, so we have a pretty good picture. We know we can still do more there, and we can work with the smaller hiccups. So we've done quite a lot of work on Undercraft as one of the examples. So if you go to Undercraft today, just at the entrance in the turn, you notice there's a little freeze there, right? Like almost a second of freeze, a big drop in FPS, and then it's smooth again, right? We've done a lot of work there to make sure that that isn't the case anymore. So in this next patch, hopefully, we really want your feedback there, because all of you guys can experience that small freeze, right, when you enter the dungeon. But other than that, it should be very smooth, right? But we want to remove that also, and not only that, we want to improve their frames even more down there. So currently on test, FPS went up quite a bit on lower end computers, which is awesome, obviously, and the freeze is not noticeable anymore. So we want you guys to confirm that as well, if the Undercraft is smooth as butter, and even better FPS in general. And if you all can confirm that, we know what we need to do everywhere, pretty much, because that's how we want to deploy all the ways how we stream the data and so on. It raised my FPS by 50, but anything that is moving leaves very bad pixel rate after images. So when you have the settings to the right, AMD FSR enabled, then you can choose the different types of FSR qualities to the left. So try higher quality if you think it's too pixelated or something. That can help with the visual effects. So play around with those settings as well. The patch will be more frequent now with UE5. Yes, our next patch is already under testing. We're getting quite close. We will see if we're going to do a public PTR, maybe, if we want to do some testing on shields and some stuff. We'll announce that if that's the case. But yeah, the plan is to have quite regular patches now. There will be a big content patch at least every 1.5 months, but there are most likely to be follow-up smaller things in between those big content patches. So that is in general what we're looking at right now. Improvement is huge. Superb job. Performance last patch was great. Very happy to hear that, guys. Very happy, because yeah, it's been quite a pain and quite a burden to have, you know, the performance on itchy state, and the big freezes have been so dreadful. We've been really pushing Epic to help us pinpoint and get updates. So we're very happy to see that at the same time as the team are doing a lot of optimization and rebuilding stuff to help the choke load. So yeah, a big burden that, you know, fell down when we got the massive feedback that finally, you know, this is on the right track and more enjoyable. Last patch was amazing, but Adamant was a nice change. But if you want to go the route of not nerfing on the racers too hard, you still need to buff Thirsters. Their Battle Cry and Adrenaline Clays are very underwhelming. And Stick Toggle will be amazing, but needs long cooldown, so you can't abuse it without downside. Disable it when getting healed, or just nerf its getting heal reduction in 10 instead of 20. Yeah, we've been looking a little bit at Stig if we want to do maybe some tweaks there. But I do agree, the Battle Cry and Adrenaline is a little bit underwhelming. We agree with that. So we're gonna do a session there to see if there could be any tweaks, or if we want to even change it completely, some of those to give them an interesting component. So we're not fully done yet, but I can't say exactly when. But yeah, we share the view on that. Having free to play is a great idea and will bring a mass of new players. Yeah, we believe so too. 150 FPS right now in spots. DLSS give me 110. Pretty good difference. And I bet that your input lag is a little bit better on FSR compared to DLSS. I think you have a little bit better. M2 fact compilation on Discord will be very helpful. Yeah, absolutely. We're gonna try to help with all this information. Do you know about the blackout spot heading up to Pillars entrance? I'm not sure. Could you show Grunchism? And please try block twice quickly and realize that your second block does nothing, and then realize your game's control are not fluid, and please fix. I'm not entirely sure what you mean with the second block. But during Comet Polish, we are going through all the aspects of what we can do to try to make the Comet more fluid and responsive. Obviously responsive, but more fluid. We agree that there are some clunkiness that all new players experience as a little hinder, while most veterans, go past that and adapt and don't have the same kind of problems. But obviously, if a new player always have that kind of struggle, then it's not optimal, right? So there's a few things we want to try out. Why only Seb was invited during your stream and it was a year ago? Now, Star staff don't want to appear on the stream, or is it your choice to be the only one answering questions? No, people in the team can absolutely be on the stream. I've had a little open discussion quite a while back, and the majority wasn't too fond of being on the stream for a few different reasons. They feel like this is not their cup of tea, right? Streaming is not for everyone. I remember when I tried streaming for a few times, it's a strange thing, right? To have a live stream with the audience. And secondly, obviously they don't want to misspoke or say something that shouldn't say, or do mistakes. We are market regulations, so we always have to be additionally careful about communication that could be sensitive. So that's something to consider. And it's a little bit late here in Sweden. They work hard, many hours, and when work is done, they're a little bit exhausted and want to take a break. And it's quite demanding to do a stream, right? To sit here and, look alive and responsive, right? So I understand that maybe it's not the most desirable thing to join in on a 2-hour or so stream after a long day of work. So all those things, if you put them together, you understand why maybe not many of them are too eager to join in. But like I said, I asked Sebastian, it would be fun, people in the community have been asking for you to join in. Will you join in? We can have a nice stream evening. And he's been on some of the streams, right? So, yeah, Hard work is valued. Have a good rest. Yeah, that's true. So I don't want to force them either, right? If they are tired and feel a little bit pressed and they don't feel too comfortable in a live stream, then I understand. I don't want to push that, right? Are you telling me that the staff members is afraid to interact with them in the community? This community has been nothing but calm, collected, and courteous at all moments. I suspect a little irony in your last sentence there. I wouldn't say they're afraid. Obviously, they're not afraid of the community. They can only do what they can do at work, right? And then if people hate it or love it, that's just how it is, right? Of course, it's not easy to read a lot of pondering and bashing when when we work hard and trying to deliver a great game, right? And some trolls come in and just shit all over the place. It's not pleasant, right, for anyone. I mean, you can imagine that yourself if you're at your work, working extremely hard, working over for multiple days and hours, and then there comes a person that just, you know, give you pure shit without any adult manner. You know what I mean, right? But no, I mean, I think I'm quite understandable. I understand frustration and why this is not for everyone, and why someone may get upset for different reasons. I mean, shit can happen in an online game, right? So that is very understandable. We know that we're in for this, and we're gonna take shit for it, and hopefully also we're gonna have a lot of people enjoying the hard work, right? So, but yeah, I've got my fair share of experience over the years to handle that. So, you know, I'm good with it. Jeez, 90 to 115 FPS on ultra quality FSR in Fab on 1080. Holy cow. That is good. That is good. You're surpassing Unreal 4 and Unreal 3 FPS in Fabernum with that old card. What is it? 7-year-old card. That is the power behind FSR 3. It's extremely powerful. I would give them hugs. Do that, please. They deserve it. I sometimes feel horrible to say when something's bad, because there are always trolls who either never played or played one day and just shit on it for fun in between their WoW or ASO. Yeah, and I think one of the tough thing I think that I feel painful is, I mean, obviously I try to gather feedback everywhere, and I think it's a good, I see a value in, and I spend some time every now and then on read reviews on Steam to see, okay, why do these people don't like the game? But it's quite painful when I see pure crap. Like, sure, I understand that a lot of people that are not into the game would just throw out something crap, right? And obviously we don't take that personally. But there's something that are just a little bit painful when it just simply unjustified to rate the game. Like, okay, I didn't think there was gonna be a sub, so now I hate the game. It's so bad, so I give it a down, even though, you know, the person that enjoyed the game and played it for 1,000 hours. You know, understandable when someone give it a bad review for I froze for 8 seconds. What the hell is going on? You know, that's understandable, and that's why we worked so hard to fix that. You know, we're looking for constructive feedback to see valid points how we actually can improve the game and make enjoy more of the game, right? So, and yeah, we see a lot of players keep in mind, like, they just take for granted that this is a huge company like all other MMO games out there with billions of resources, and there's no few individuals that takes it more personally or more direct. They think that, you know, the developers are never going to read this probably, and you know, it's big companies behind it, so we can throw the crap because they can handle it, right? There's no few persons that are indirect responsible for creating the game with their own investments, kind of like we are as a small independent company. You know, when a big company like Blizzard, it's not like there's 10 guys that made a game that takes it harsh, and they did everything they could to make that game. You know, it's thousands of developers, and the majority of them never go anywhere and read anything about it because they just do their job and they're one out of a big army. But it's such a big difference here. It's like a family trying to make a game based on all our hours on a daily basis is beyond normal work hours, right? And all that. And we just do it because we're passionate about it. We want to offer something unique. And then just reading like the mentality coming from World of Warcraft and, oh, it's just another MMO and it's crap because I don't like this or that. Or, hey, you can PvP and they stole my shit. Oh, such a bad game, and give it a bad review. Or that's a little bit painful because, you know, if they read up 5 minutes about the game, that's the intention behind the game. So you writing a bad review for what the intention is behind the game, that is a little bit painful. Do you see what I mean? That is the worst part, I think, reading when that happens. You know, we fully understand if this is not the game for me because I can't stand PvP or full loot. Fine. Then obviously this game may not be for you, right? Because that's the essence of the game. That's why we love the game. So it's a little bit painful to get some of those bashing. You see what I mean, maybe, right? The former job player, you were with you. No, he did not. He haven't played a lot of MMOs from the old days. And I think that's been a little bit refreshing. He's a hardcore gamer, but a lot of different types of games, quite broad, have a lot of good knowledge, played a lot, still play a lot. So I think it's a good thing when we compare knowledge and see how can we make this better in this feature by just looking at any game. How do other games handle that kind of area of feature? So I think that's also a powerful thing when having developers in team that comes from different views from different games, so we can try to contribute and, you know, together make it as good as possible. If they really hate it, they would quit. They just love to hate. That too. I mean, we have different types, right? We have those that are completely shocked. They buy the game because they looked at the trailer and then they hate so much on it because it has full loot. That's what I mean is, come on. If you just read 2 lines down on Steam, it says full loot. So why do you give us a bad review because it's full loot? Then you haven't read the first line of our game. Those are a little bit painful, you know. Still understandable, but still painful. The game doesn't even work on a functional level, Henrik. It started like crazy. I played for 2 hours, run into like 3 dozen bugs. That's why reviews are negative, because the experience in the game is mostly negative. I want to know what the bugs you're running into, because the majority don't share your experience. And the game doesn't freeze for the majority anymore since our latest patch. So I also want to know what kind of hardware you have. You may have something very old that do challenge the next generation graphics. That's also understandable, right? I mean, we can only do so much when it comes to next generation graphics, and Unreal 5. There's some demand on hardware, right? Even though we work heavily on optimizing it to work on 7-year-old computers, like the guys said here, 1080 cards running with 111 FPS in Fabernum. That is impressive performance on a 7-year-old graphic card. And we have the majority, you know, sharing with us that we don't have the big freezes anymore. Stutter is way improved. So, you know, we have to watch the entire picture. We can't just say, I'm getting it and I have a 15-year-old computer, therefore the game is bad and we should give it bad reviews. You know, we're trying to explain that this is a next generation game. You require some hardware, and we up the hardware on the website also on Steam. A lot of people buy it with hardware that doesn't even meet the minimum, and then they go and give it a bad review because they have bad performance. That is unlogic and strange, but that's how it works. We understand that. A lot of that contributes to negative reviews, obviously. And like I said, the biggest negative reviews have been a valid concern. That's been the big freezes. But those have been fixed now. So obviously, hopefully we will see a turnaround again, because all our review since day one on Modern 2 have been around 80%. 80% since day one. And we had hundreds more bugs and crap in the game back then. So you see, if we try to look at the entire picture, it doesn't really make sense what you say here. But again, everyone have their own opinion, right? Put Pokemon in game, problem solved. Yeah, sorry, the winner have been drawn. Yeah, I mean, the reviews have been a big problem for Steam, and many developers in the world have been complaining. And there's always a pattern. The big, rich game development company have good reviews no matter what, while independent companies have a huge variation depending on the game and the struggle. And that also shows, you know, some things. So a lot of complaint have been given, the system is quite bad also. If they have some demand requirements that you have to own this many accounts, you have to buy this many games, and you have to play the game this many hours before you can make a review, that would have cleared a lot of shit. Many have told them to do that, but they ignore it. That's why Epic Games decided not to have that system in their platform. But yeah, and that's also the thing. A lot of people are influenced by the score. So if they see a mixed, okay, it's probably not good, so I'm not gonna buy it. And that's sad, because this could be their dream game, right? If they read up on it and see, is this a game they wanna enjoy? Does it have those kind of features or not? Because the majority of the MMOs are the same thing, theme park, right? So if all those theme parks have from mixed reviews to good reviews, you know, then it's more valid because they compete within the majority of the MMOs. But we are a sandbox MMO, a little bit more hardcore. If you know what this is and you're looking for that and you like those games, Valheim, Rust, Tarkov, then you have a very high chance of really enjoying this type of MMO, right? So yeah, the reviews is far from perfect and may trick people of not trying it when they should try it, right? That's a big problem. And it's so easy for a small group to change the reviews also, which unfortunately have happened when people are not happy about the game, even though they love the game and play the game daily. They want to sabotage for the game and hope that less people play it, and then on the other day they say we need more players because we want to have more fun. Well, don't negative review bomb it then. It doesn't make sense. But yeah, when things was in a general time, we have been around 70 to 80%, which is really good for this type of game, I think. And I think it's well-deserved score. Yeah, more features such as new dungeons. Yeah, absolutely. And that is on our roadmap right now. We're adding more dungeons. We started with one and we're going to add a few more. Game doesn't freeze at all since new update. Yeah, so it's no doubt that the majority got a solid patch that made performance good and freezes removed. And that's a big win. That was our first step, right? If there are still some users left that have these freezes, we are very eager and keen on knowing what kind of hardware you have and how does this happen, where does it happen, so we can try to pinpoint what is going on there, right? M2 is one of the best games if we look at its potential, but it can still die before reaching success because of wrong priorities both from devs and community. Yes, the last patch bring plus FPS, but even in 4K 260 plus constant FPS, this game got other problems to handle. Yeah, obviously FPS and performance can only take us so far, right? That is why polish and bug fixing and critical balance have been the main prior now, and we have already dealt with some of it, and we will deal with the rest of the ones that have been reported in the upcoming like two patches or so. And then of course again, you know, content and polish depending on what we're looking at here. I have good hardware. I haven't tried since last patch as I'm not ready to sub yet for this game. Maybe in a few patches. That's perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. That's why I think it's so valuable to hear from the players that actually play this patch. What are their experience? What kind of improvements? Those things that were an issue for many. How does that play now? Is it improved, fixed, or what? That's why we did this little poll that we put on our webpage. We hope that everyone that play on this patch will participate and answering those polls, because it will also help us to get an even broader picture of everyone playing, right? So absolutely, Big Mac Farmer, feel free to read on that feedback and jump in whenever you want to try it out. My computer is like a year old and FSR 3 causes it to freeze. Just saying. Love the game, by the way. Yeah, so it could be, like I said, there are FSR 3 issues with specific drivers and hardware and settings. It's a little bit of a jungle to debug those issues, but we're going to try to gather them all and put on a web page. It's not in the game codes, it's in the FSR functions. So it will only improve from here, because I'm sure they're also going to update FSR to be more stable for all users, right? Because they're getting reports of everyone using FSR, not only for Mortal 9. It's known issues for quite a few hardware combinations. No news for the last entity spells of elementalism yet. We are all focusing on some balance and core issues right now that we want to fix first. Then they can go back. Those developers can go back on working on elementalism. But we wanna cover a few things first that affects everyone. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we had a few thousand initially, right? That became negative because of the queues. Again, understandable. A big mistake on our end, and absolutely understandable negative reviews based on that. They couldn't even play the game for hours or days, right? So that was well-deserved negative reviews. We would just hope that the majority of them would give the game a new chance to test it, to actually give a review based on the game experience rather than infinite queues. But yeah, understandable, very unfortunate. I would bet that a few of those 1,000 would be converted into a positive review if they actually enjoy the game. So yeah, that's on us, and it's quite unfortunate. I haven't crashed at all since EU5, and I just have a 3090, nothing special. Yeah, I mean, the majority can play the game quite well, right? So obviously we try to pinpoint those that have issues, and if there are specific things we can help, or if there are any game code bugs, crashes, then obviously all those that gets reported we instantly fix. If we see something in game code, we fix them. And you've seen quite a few of those in some of our past patches. Rare crashes when using this or that, that's in our codes, right? So that's something we can fix. But then when there are drivers, hardware issues, then it's out of our hands, which is one of the challenges, because people have thousands of combinations of hardware and drivers, right? So that's always a little bit of challenge. But it's not unique for Mortal 9 either. You see those kind of troubleshooting issues in all games, right? I went through and removed my review from a huge launch issues. I'm waiting to see the next patch before I make an update. Yeah, that's fair, Spall. I mean, we are very happy if someone actually find it time to go back after the launch issues to actually evaluate the gaming experience. That's something we appreciate, obviously. That's really good. So obviously, based on how you experience the patch we deliver now, obviously that's hopefully will make you enjoy the game and feel the value of what you're getting, right? That's all we can do. Final Fantasy had a worse review at one point. Yeah, I mean, obviously this changed over time. Like I said, we've gone from 80% down to 40 something now. Understandable with the freezes, but now with the freezes are just fixed. Hopefully we will see a change in that in the upcoming months. So, I mean, we're patient. We're in the long run. And if players enjoy the game and it spreads, that's what's matter in the long run, right? And that we can slowly continue to grow and expand. That's what matters for everyone that is interested in this type of game. The big companies can get slammed on Steam reviews. I know my experiences on newer player streamer coming into the game late into its development. It felt really early in its development because it was a new switch over to Unreal 5, which is great, but there was floating mobs, they had weird AI, it didn't feel like the combat is fleshed out. There is maintained combat by jumping in every swing instead of adding stamina constraints on jumping constraints like for Honor or Chivalry, similar type of games, which gives a more fluid control. I mean, our combat is not perfect, absolutely, we agree with that, and there are room for improvement, tweaks, making it more fluid, yes, and that's actually something we work on right now, because it's a big interest, just like you say, a lot of people care about that, so we will improve and work on that. With that said, we have also got a lot of feedback that their words, this is the best combat MMO they enjoy. So obviously we're happy to have that kind of feedback from a lot of players that enjoy the combat in this type of game. Very different from most other MMO games, right? Real-time combat with body parts and so on. We have multiple plans to improve the combat, and we also have some systems we want to enable and run on PTR so everyone can test and give their feedback on. And along with those fixes, we can also narrow down, restrict spins and so on, because now you have more tactical options to use other than only spin around, because that's the most efficient and only tool you have now pretty much on a higher level when you have fully mastered parry counter. We already added a little bit of depth, which was a huge success. The charge blink, so you can be offensive also, spice things up. That was a huge success. We have quite a few more of those coming, so stay tuned. I really love this game so much. It just scratches an itch that no other game does. I think it's in the next few months after a second character is implemented, it will be just about perfect. Keep doing what you're doing. You're achieving some amazing things. Thank you very much, Woofy. Very much appreciate your words. And I agree. We're on the right path, and obviously we will not stop our path. Coloscopia, like I said, we will revisit the entities when our coders are finished with some of the major balance systems we work on right now. I can't say exactly when. The biggest things looking forward to: mountable bears and second character. They are coming very soon. Bro, many devs in the devs have great reviews. Don't blame reviews for your failures. Fixed issues. I see games with 200 reviews mostly positive because the game is tight. Absolutely, Big Mac Pharma. Maybe I was unclear, but don't misunderstand me. I'm not blaming anything on anyone. I try to explain the absolutely valid reasons we got negative reviews. I understand why we got them at certain points. I'm just very open and transparent, talking about the pros and cons, and some of the painful, not as unjust ones for the different reasons that I talked earlier. And absolutely, I mean, there are many successful indie games that have amazing reviews. They hit the jackpot. Like I said, there's 1 out of 1,000 may become very successful. It's very difficult to make a game to stand out and be successful, but there are absolutely many indie in total that manage to hit those jackpot, and that's amazing to see. So it's not only the giants that are, out there with their perfect rates. Even, what was it? Cyberpunk got overwhelmingly positive ratings before the game was released. That was strange, right? I don't know what happened there. But yeah, absolutely, I'm not blaming anyone but ourselves when we messed up, like I said in the launch. Very unfortunate, we got several thousand negative for valid reasons, as I said many times. I wouldn't blame them. I would probably be pissed off myself. I just hope that, many of them may come back and try the game and evaluate the ratings based on the game rather than sitting in a queue, for instance. But yeah, like I said, there are some silly ones. Playing the game, oh my god, I can't stand PvP in full loot. It's the first sentence of the game that you just bought. That doesn't make much sense, right? There's a few of those. And then we have valid ones, right? I don't think I'll ever go back to theme MMOs after MMO2. That's what I can't either. That's one of the problems. It even started in Ultima Online for me. I couldn't enjoy World of Warcraft at all thanks to Ultima Online. Many of my friends started playing it and they said, let's play it together. I said, okay, let's do it. It's the big game everyone is playing. I was behind them in levels. So I had to grind quests. And I said, I don't want to do quests. Let's meet up and do something funny. And they said, Henrik, what the hell are you talking about? I said, let's play together. They said, Henrik, you're playing World of Warcraft. Yeah, MMO, right? Shall we play it together? No, it doesn't work like that. It's a MMO. Why don't we play it together? already there, it started. No, you have to grind quests. Okay, I have to grind quests. So obviously I started doing that for days. I said, come on, I'm puking. I can't do a single more level. Where are you? Oh no, man, we just hit level 50. So you have to grind 50 more levels before I can meet up. I couldn't. So yeah. It's a different type of breed, right? It's a solid MMO, and I can understand why so many enjoy it. A casual, really solid, amazing story-driven MMO. So I can see the power and success of that, right? And the perfect timing of that, and the IP, World of Warcraft. But yeah, I wish I could enjoy it more, but I can't. And I pretty much Ultima Online that did that to me. And Mortal 9 is similar. It's the same like Ultima Online, right? So if you're coming later in Mortal 9 and enjoy that, you may have a hard time enjoying other theme park MMOs. That's true. That's a risk. I think it's the same. Before we play here, we must grind clades like now. You don't have to grind any clades to play with your friends. You can go directly to your friends. And that's what I was hoping I could do in World of Warcraft as well. They said, no, everything is level based. You can't even be in this area. They will one-tap you. You have to level. And to do that, I have to do quests. And I wasn't really interested in doing quests and getting into the story and playing solo. I was only interested in playing with my friends like I did in Ultima Online. And I couldn't. So that was the first step where I struggled, right? But there was part of in the game that I enjoyed. So, but it's a very different MMO. That's all. Wilderness reminds me of RuneScape. We just need guild cloaks and colorable tabers. Absolutely, it's on the list. Guild logo emblems that you can design, and dye. The dye system will be enabled once again. I thought I would play New World again to see if it was fun, but I just wanted to craft. I had to play and beat the game just to craft something worth selling, and I quit immediately. Yeah, and I mean, if people are passionate about online game where you can craft and have depth, then Mortal Online is it. We have the most sophisticated, advanced crafting system ever seen in a MMO game. And obviously we have a lot of crafters that find this game and they just can't craft in another MMO in the same level. Sidious, thank you for the donation. Do you have any plans on preventing players from using multi-boxing to gain advantages over others? I'm not sure about that. And, you know, how do you do a fight with two clients at the same time? If you're a skillful player, you probably have an advantage over those two that try to do something on two. So I'm not sure what kind of problem that may be. I think you guys are going in the right direction, sometimes slower than everyone would want, but it's understandable. Great job with adding FSR. Yeah, we have been in states where we've been working so much on core stuff that makes nothing appear to be updating fast enough, and that's fully understandable. But I think we are mostly past a lot of that, which means you will see more of the content we're working on, you will see that play out in the game more efficiently. So hopefully we will show now regular basis, monthly basis updates in a much more excitable way for players. Motherfucker Jones, thank you for the donation. Any thoughts on a new server like a fresh start, since a lot of people are not favoring a wipe? As a new player, the game is kind of rough around the edges and has a steep learning curve. Wait. Steep learning curve if you don't have people to really guide you. It is a little bit rough learning curve, absolutely, and we're trying to improve that and help with tools and such to make people interact and help each other in a better way. And I think we have some good things in the loop for that will help. We don't plan to start a new unique server. One of our concepts is one worldwide server. We will have new continents that may be on other areas in the world, and that will obviously also be a race for new content for everyone, like a fresh exploration for everything for everyone. So that's how it's looking right now. Thank you for your insight and experience. Thank you, Pixel Bytes. Questing is for single player games, in my opinion. I agree. But you know, it can still be an interesting incorporation. You know, we don't like the classic WoW quests. I mean, we want to make a sandbox, right? But I think so. Our take on that were more like tasks. You can work for a city, you can work for a nation, and there should obviously be some interesting work to do and some rewards that make sense. So that is our approach more, rather than you are always the hero to save the world, right? And then after you, the next guy comes and gets the same kind of thing. It's a little bit more like single player game, right? Where it makes more sense. Good patch overall. Love the new blink charge change, even though it was a small change. It really impacted the flow of combat. Love the new dungeon and its drops overall also. Hopefully soon we get the crashes hiccups fixed in the next weeks, and fix the fast charge attack bug ASAP also. I'm happy with the patch, looking forward for more soon. Yeah, we have updates, I believe, on the fast charge bug already, and one when you swap weapons. So that should be hopefully fixed already in the next patch. So yeah, absolutely. And like I said, we did optimization further. Also on the Honorcraft, you notice everyone have a little loading hiccup when you go at entrances. That should hopefully be pretty much gone, and even better FPS down there on the next patch. So yeah, we're absolutely working on hiccups next now when the main freeze issues have been solved for our players. So yeah, absolutely. I started off as a solo player but talked in game and made great friends. I haven't had such a great community experience since back in Vanilla WoW years ago. I'm really happy to hear that, and it's really cool to see Vanilla WoW players find their possibly new home in Mortal Line as well. It's even more free and open, and I'm sure that's what you have experienced, to be very fresh coming from a game like World of Warcraft. So yeah, that's nice to hear. And I can really appreciate how you are able to engage with bad feedback. Your personality makes people want to root for stalwarts. Very happy to hear that, Big Mac Farmer. Very happy to hear that. I mean, like I said, I believe in being very open and transparent, and just tell everyone why are we doing this, what are we passionate about, and what are our goals. And if people seems to be on the same line and want to support it and enjoy that type of development and game, then we're on the same boat, right? And we are stronger together, because we're a small team. You know, it's always difficult for a small development team that are fully occupied with the game development to also compete in the world when it comes to marketing and making awareness. But that's where players come into play as well, right? If you enjoy the game and enjoy the work we deliver, then obviously that leads to positive discussions, right? And that may lead to people wanna get their friends in the game and playing. So that's just a spiral that goes upwards whenever we deliver good stuff. Goes hand in hand. The other game, Henrik, any comments on Thievery Assassin playstyle being added, or is it completely off the roadmap now? It's not on the top 10 roadmap currently. It is later, so I can't say when we will implement that. We have quite a few systems ready for it already and design. I'm not sure exactly how much development time we will require for it fully. We wanted to see how big is the interest in that field. And in the first vote of batch, it didn't make the top 10. I mean, there are some features that, even though they don't make top 10, we want to add some of those in the game no matter what, because of different reasons. One example is the die system, guild logo, emblem system. Everyone wants it, loves it, and know it's a big improvement for the game. You can identify your friends and foes, and it's a cool thing to have more variation on how to look different, right? So no one says no to it. But when it came down to voting for, I want these other things now, then obviously that pushes that back, right? So obviously we also need to step in some areas where we feel that these things are needed for everyone. So we kind of need to cover that on the side as well. So there may be some of those also sneaking up on priority. You can craft and sell and turn a profit within hours of making a character. MO2 crafting is excellent. Happy to hear that. And yeah, the majority of crafters have said a lot of good stuff about our crafting system in Immortal 9. We have a lot of different craftings, as you know, many of them which have millions of combinations. A lot of things haven't been discovered and fully refined yet. Every now and then we can see a new type of crafting meta pop up also, which is really cool, even so long after Persistent. And I'm sure there'll be more over time as well. Some sort of gear equipment presets would be helpful for Yeah, I agree. There are some downtime that could be minimized to make it more effective and enjoyable. We understand that. A lot of people said that, you know, we need to respect the player's time. We fully agree. Obviously, we want to do that. There's always a tough balance also, that it's at the same time it's a persistent, ever-going, large-scale MMORPG with trades and professions and achievement and trades. And then at the same time, there's players that want everything instant, go straight to battles and combat. And then there's people on the other spectrum that want to avoid it and do more business and long-term things. And this is a true sandbox game, right? So we offer everything, but it's fully understandable then also where some of the RP elements and progression, big world, transportation and traveling, it's very understandable why some people want to minimize that, right? And go straight to what they want to enjoy, because that's what you can do in a sandbox. You choose what you want to do. At the same time, we can't fully remove or compete with that by just changing it, because then we also remove and compete with trading localized regions and values if we remove the transportation routes. So there's always a thin balance also that we need to be very careful about and respect as much as we can, and have a understandable why it is, because the game is developed and designed to support that kind of world. But there are absolutely room for tools to help in this area. Like you suggested, we absolutely see where we can have quick outfit setups that you have pre-prepared, and then you go bam straight into it, right? And you're done. We can see those things being absolutely valuable and something we can do. We just have to pick the priority of it and pick where it's time to add that kind of feature. Same with the broker. If you want to sell a full set of armor, presets of that, there's a lot of those things that will just make it more fluid, right? Can that content have NAP? We are looking to possibly have the next continent on North America. You can travel and play on either of the continents, obviously. If you don't have people to guide you, find people to guide you in-game. It's the beauty of it, indeed. If you crash a lot with FSR enabled, then obviously there are some issues, right? Like I said, you can try the different settings, check your drivers. We have the troubleshooting guide that we're gonna see we can put on our webpage, because there are known FSR issues with specific hardware, and there's a guide on the internet that helps those people solve those crashes. So we're gonna try to collect that and put it on the webpage, because you could be one of the one that are affected by that issue, right? And hopefully AMD will update the FSR that also helps solving some of these things. It's a new thing, right? So I think it's a matter of time, and it's out of our control, so hopefully they will update it soon. Will it be possible to sit and share line beds and other peaceful animations interaction with our environment? Yes, we plan to add stuff like that. Again, I'm not sure where it fits in the big schedule we have though. But along with table games, we will absolutely have sit and shares, right? Because it makes sense. So it will come with some of those packs that are planned for. We're also looking at a little overhaul for the self-casting for magic. We know that it's far from perfect, right? So we're trying to do some updates and make that more fluid and better. What are the team's thoughts on number 1, upvoted roadmap item, combat polish and improvement? What does this mean to you? What direction are you considering on the topic? So there's several things we're looking at when it comes to combat polishing. Let me see if I have my list of things, by the way. There's quite a few we are analyzing, and that we also got a lot of feedback from over the past year. Even since Combat Beta, some of it. So we all agree that we want a smoother changing weapon. It should be more fluid, smooth, and we also want to be able to highlight what I have equipped in hotbar, right? Pretty much everyone think this is absolutely agreed on. So we're looking at quick hot swap sets, kind of like Diablo, you know, you have the alternate setup. If you want to quickly change from a weapon to a shield to a bow or something like that, you can do those more effectively. So that's obviously, I think, a very good quality of life for combat in general that everyone benefits from. Of course, we want to enable some of the cool features that just adds a nice satisfaction to combat, which is effects, dismemberment, stuff like that. We have fatalities systems that we had to disable early on in Unreal 4 because the engine, the function we relied on in the engine was unstable, so it caused crashes. We disabled it since then, long time ago. We want to reevaluate that in Unreal 5 to see if they fixed that issue. If they haven't, we have to reevaluate it. We have to rebuild the system to be used in another way. So that's one thing. Obviously, we want to add back because it just adds a really cool feedback to the game and just, you know, that cool violence in a battle that we want back, right? Pilates Psygo 4. You can leave. This game is far from dead. It's just the beginning. So if you don't like the game, you don't have to be here. No one is forcing you to be here, so that's fine. So that's one thing. Looking at some improved effects, we're looking over the animations, how that could be possible tweak to be more fluid, and because now we have upper body and lower body animation that are disconnected from each other's. We will take a look on how those could possibly blend or weight each other's in a way where it just feels and look a little bit better. We have got some complaints where you can hold your hand and weapon through other bodies, even hide them in your own body and through walls and such. Obviously breaks immersive and gives odd situation where you're hiding things that where you shouldn't be able to. We want to evaluate if we can improve that. We're also looking at some of the animation that lacks power or reach and looks a little bit iffier and feel iffy. So those are some things. We're looking at better feint support, looking at tweaking the stamina a little bit. That's also been a lot of feedback when it comes to the stamina. So those are some of the things we are looking at in the general combat polish, to mention a few. Why no new pets aren't being added in the next patch? So we are looking to possibly add a bear, right? As that was voted to be a rideable one. If everything goes as planned, we should have the bear along with their gear and armor and such. So that is the current plan. I don't have the exact scope of it, if it's ready for the next patch or how it's looking. Not this small patch, I'm talking about the content patch at least. We don't have time frame for the second slot. Other than that, we are working on it since it was number 3 on the top 10 for the votes. All right, guys. I'm way over 3-hour mark. Time flies when we are busy bees and having interesting discussions. So maybe this is my cue before it gets too late. Yes, and not only, we will have those function along with some of the content. For instance, table games and such, we will have the sit on shares. So they're coming over time. No solution to undestructible buildings. Yes, we are working on that already, and that will be patched as soon as it's finished. We are not holding back that patch because of that reason, right? All right. Shall we call it a night? Getting a little bit hungry here. Let's take a look on if we should do a little raid, perhaps. Let's see, who do we have playing here? All right, so let's do the quick poll, guys. It's always easier. Help me, who we should raid. One minute. Vote now, guys. Thank you. Good stuff, Henrik. Have a good one. Thank you very much, Jay Wicht. Thank you, Everman Hero. And thank you, the Every ZZ. And I can give a recap. I just got here. There's Half-Life. I'm sorry. I'm a little bit tired now. 1.5 hour overdue. But we try to do highlights, right, and put them up on YouTube and our webpage so you can get the quick recap on things. So hopefully you can catch that one. We covered quite a lot today. So yeah, you may check that one out. How come we never raid Crank? Good question. I mean, look at him bashing me personally. Personal insults. It's hard to support someone that that personally insult you like that. I mean, if he play by the rules and enjoy the game, as I think he does, fine. But if he just insults me like a child, then it's hard to support back, right? Usually when you don't like something, you ignore, right? And if someone is hating on me, that's fine, and I ignore back, right? I think that's all I can do. I don't want to bash anyone, so I ignore instead. I think that's a better way to handle it. Yeah, he may be a great dude and passionate, and maybe he can start controlling his anger and start insulting. And maybe we can go back to civil discussions and raids, but until then, and I only hear craziness, then it's hard for me, right, to show people the game through someone that insults me and the team, right? I think it makes sense. You call me an idiot. What? I don't call people idiots. All right, we got the votes. That Manzay is the winner today, guys. All right, he did call me a lunatic. sorry. I don't mean to insult anyone. I don't know when that happened. I don't recognize it. But if I accidentally slip up in my words, I don't mean to offend anyone personally. I try to be civil and don't jump on people. All right. Let's raid that Manzay then. Everyone, thank you very much for tuning in today. I really appreciate your support tuning in here. I appreciate your questions and support, donations, and all of that. It makes a huge difference for me and the team, and it helps us just go further and move up with the game. All right. No. That was a mistake. I didn't call Rivers a noob. I hope I made that clear, guys. It was a little bit funny. No, I didn't mean to say that, and it wasn't him. So it was a little bit funny. All right. Thank you again, everyone, for joining in. Let's raid that Manze and give him some support and follow as usual, guys. Call him fat? No. It just gets worse and worse now. I'm tired. I better leave now. Okay, I'm ready now. Let's say hello and show some support to that Manze. Again, thank you all for tuning in and have a wonderful evening. And I hope to see you soon again. All right. Have a good one and good night, everyone. Here we go. Bye-bye.